Did you know those numbers equate to minutes in the toaster?
Did you know they actually don't, and that's a common myth?
No.
Toaster cooks for the same length of time. It's degree of heat.
No, it's not.
Bet.
Okay, standard bet, $1.
All right. You know we've tested it, right?
Have we?
Well, not clearly not you.
What do numbers on toaster mean?
I'm so confident I'm not even using my phone to look it up as well.
So Dumb and Dumber.
Hello and welcome to episode 36 of the Watch It Bro podcast. I am Tristan.
And I am Marshall.
And today's episode, well, it's gonna start off pretty dumb, and then it's gonna get dumber.
But you'll have a good time.
We will have a good time. Because today we are talking about the classic Farrelly Brothers hit, Dumb and Dumber.
Woo!
I was expecting a woo there. Thank you for coming through for me.
You're welcome.
This was Marshall's choice. And
It was.
for some reason, it was a surprise to me.
You knew it was coming sometime.
Yeah, I think I do think that we agreed that it was an inevitability for the podcast. I wasn't 100% on it because, I was like, not really a family-friendly movie, and that's kind of what I want to go with. But it's a movie we grew up with, as Marshall said, and it was a big, big part of our lives, even still. So, also a necessity for the podcast, I think.
It's good to revisit.
It is. Yeah, one of my concerns going into this movie is the fact that we are so familiar with it that we are going to spend most of our time not talking about the movie, but quoting the movie.
That is a genuine concern.
And then I was thinking about it last night when I was watching the movie, and I was like, why am I concerned about that? That will be fun.
It will be fun.
My wife watched it with me, and she rolled her eyes as I pretty much quoted the entire movie while we were watching it.
You're like, yep, it's still in there.
I've seen it that many times. So instead of talking about it, let's get into talking about it. What? Anyway.
Instead of talking about watching it, just talk about what we. I don't.
It gets worse the more you try to fix it. This movie was directed by Peter Farrelly, and it was written by Peter and Bobby Farrelly, and a man named Bennett Yellen.
Really?
It is starring the great and lovable Jim Carrey.
Yes.
Who you might remember from such films as The Mask, Ace Ventura, Liar Liar, not the Harry Truman Show, but just the Truman Show.
Fun fact.
Yes.
This was his third movie to come out in 1994.
1994 was a busy time for Mr. Jim Carrey.
Yep. He had Ace Ventura and The Mask that same year. And when he was negotiating his contract, they offered him $700,000 for this movie. Then Ace Ventura hit, and he was able to get $7 million for this movie.
It's quite a pay rise.
And these three movies were the first. He was the first person to get three movies hit #1 in 1 year.
Wow, that's an impressive feat.
He had the 90s magic.
Yeah, he was definitely the brand of comedy that the world was looking for at the time.
Yes.
And moving on from Mr. Jim Carrey, we have the great Jeff Daniels.
Yes.
Who,
fantastic actor. Yes.
Fantastic actor. Very, never a comedic act. This was his first comedic role. And his agent begged him, pleaded with him to not do this movie because he was convinced it was going to tank his career. But Jeff Daniels told him to buzz off, and he was going to do this movie. And it worked out very, very well for him.
Yes. Yes, it did.
Up next, we have Lauren Holly, who you might remember from her stint on Down Periscope that we talked about last season.
Yes. Yes. She was in another one of my movies. Haha. I don't know why.
Yeah. Next in line, we have Karen Duffy, who you might remember from a movie called Blank Check, Fun fact.
I don't remember that movie. I do remember that movie. Huh.
Not until I
Don't remember
mentioned it, though.
don't remember her in it.
She was the main girl in it.
I remember a kid getting a blank check and writing it for something and then being chased by villains.
Yeah. Well, she was also in it as I don't exactly remember what she did, but fun fact, her character in this movie, her name is Shay.
Yeah.
In Blank Check, her character's name was also Shay.
Oh, so possibly the same character. We have a crossover.
I kind of hope not, but I don't know. Yeah. No.
Because she's a little murdery in this.
A little bit. And Blank. So some of the scenes in Blank Check probably wouldn't fly today
Ah.
because she kind of dates a 10-year-old.
Oh, okay.
It's weird. It's weird. I watched it. Rachel and I watched it probably 8 months ago. We were just watching all the old movies from the 90s
Yeah.
and whatnot. We're watching that and we're like, that, huh? No, I don't like that. Like I said, it's weird.
Okay.
But after spending way too much time talking about that, let's move on to Mike Starr, who I didn't drop anything specifically that he's been in because he's been in almost everything.
Yeah.
His movie credits are as long as my arm, and his TV credits are probably twice that. You've probably seen him without knowing it was him, or probably seen him and gone, I know that guy from somewhere, but I can't figure it out.
I can't quite put my finger on it.
Yep,
But
he's one.
he's one of those guys that stands out.
He is.
Um,
Up next, we have SNL alumni Charles Rocket, who did a year on SNL from 80 to 81. And that was right when the last of the original cast was leaving.
okay.
You look confused.
Nope.
And rounding out our starring cast, according to the Wikipedia, is Terry Garr, who you might remember as Phoebe's mother from Friends.
Yes, Phoebe's mom, Phoebe from Montauk.
Yes. Thank you for remembering that. Dumb and Dumber was released December 16th, 1994, on a budget of $17 million, 7 of that being Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
It raked in a whopping $247 million at the box office, making it a, I dare say, smash hit.
Yes. An insane hit for the time.
Yeah.
I mean, because this was the Fairley Brothers' first movie.
Do you know what their second movie was?
I do not.
Me either. However, this movie has so far spawned 2 sequels. Well, a prequel and a sequel.
Yes. And I believe a cartoon as well.
We don't talk about the cartoon?
So I've got some fun facts.
So, fun fact,
Okay.
because we had the prequel, which was not Harry and Lloyd. Well, it was Harry and Lloyd. Not Jim Carrey. Not Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels.
No.
And
No,
then
it was.
in 2014, it was Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels. At which point, Jim Carrey promised that we would get a Dumb and Dumber movie every 20 years.
Okay.
Which means in 9 years, we are getting a third Dumb and Dumber movie.
Fantastic.
I don't know if he meant it, but we're going to remember it.
Yeah, I don't. We will remember it. I mean, because he has retired from acting, but he's come back, and
Yeah,
he
just did Sonic 3.
Yep, and that is officially his highest-grossing movie ever.
Wow, it's a good one.
Fun facts about this movie before we really get into it.
Okay, because I do have some fun facts that I wrote down when they come up.
This is just about the movie up until it starts.
Okay. Oh, fun fact. Jim Carrey is only 63 years old, which means that he will be in his early 70s and be more than young enough to give us another Dumb and Dumber movie.
And if he's still got his mobility like
Jeff Daniels will be 80.
Okay. Anyway, so this movie, the original start of it starts with John Hughes. He wrote a script called Ski Nuts, and it doesn't sound like he was super happy with it, and he sold it to the Farley brothers.
Okay.
And they rewrote it. They were desperate to get their first movie made, so they rewrote it, kind of tailored it to them a little bit more. And they got New Line Cinema to say, yeah, we'll make this movie for it with you. They originally offered the role of Harry and Lloyd to Martin Short and Steve Martin. and they turned it down.
Yes, he
And
did.
then it next went to Gary Oldman and Nicolas Cage. During the rewriting process, Gary Oldman got booted and replaced with Jim Carrey. And then once they realized that Jim Carrey was a major star and he went from 700,000 to 7 million budget, Nicolas Cage tried to renegotiate and he kind of got replaced. Well, he got ousted,
Yes, he
and
did.
then the Farrelly brothers and Jim wanted Jeff Daniels. The studio did not.
Right.
And in order to dissuade Jeff Daniels from pursuing the role any further, they offered him 50,000 for the movie, and he took it.
Wow. Also, fun fact:
Yes.
in the first, I think it was the first 2 weeks of filming, they did not film any of Jim and Jeff's scenes together because they were still prepping to replace Jeff Daniels.
Correct. After the first week or so, he realized he hadn't done any scenes with Jim, and realized it was still the audition process, because then they could just reshoot all the stuff if they didn't like what Jeff Daniels was doing.
Yep. And Jeff mentioned in many interviews now that his secret, or his whole process for playing Harry, was that he was going to let Jim do what Jim does and stay out of his way and only play off of him.
Yeah.
Which worked.
Hard to do when you're not filming with him at the time, but
Right.
he just did whatever he was doing. The Jim Carrey saw him at one point, kind of after it all, and leaned into him and said, "Just keep doing what you're doing. They love you."
Yeah. And then Jim has mentioned in interviews that before each take, Jeff Daniels would do the same head shake to knock his brain out of function in order to get into character.
Nice.
And apparently he did that for both movies.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Are you still fun facting?
Nope, we got to the movie point.
All right. So this movie opens up with the New Line Cinema logo. And watching that, I was like, is this our first New Line Cinema movie?
I don't think so.
That's the first time I really recall seeing that logo.
I guess it's the first time I haven't mentioned it before, I don't think.
Yeah, we haven't talked about the
No.
New Lines. No.
Surf Ninjas, I believe, was New Line.
Is it?
Hang on, I'm going back to my Surf Ninja notes. Galaxy Quest, no, that's not. That's too far. Surf
Yeah.
Ninjas,
New
New
Line
Line
Cinema.
Cinema logo.
Yeah, I
I
got
have it
there.
right here at the top of my notes. New Line Cinema logo. Ernie Reyes Jr. holds 4th degree black belt in Taekwondo. Anyway.
Okay. We've already done New Line Cinema and Surf Ninjas. Okay, so following the New Line Cinema logo, we're gonna quote this movie so much. Oh man. We start off with a shot of a bus stop. We're already about to break. Because oh man. Yeah, there's a lady standing at a bus stop. You see a limo pull up and stop, and we meet Lloyd Christmas right off the bat. He pokes his head out the window and he asks for directions because he's giving a lecture.
Yeah.
And his driver's a little lost.
Yeah, he's trying to find the university.
Yes. He asked, and she responds with a moderate accent that you go left over the bridge.
Yes.
And he notices and he goes, "Wow, that's a lovely accent you got there. New Jersey?" And she corrects him because it's an Austrian accent, to which he goes, "Austria?" And then proceeds to hit on her in an Australian accent and promptly gets shot down.
Yeah.
And then we
Throw another
revealed,
shrimp on the Barbie.
yeah. Okay. So yeah, he gets shot down, and it reveals that he is in fact the driver, because we watch him crawl his way back up to the front of the limo and drive off.
Yeah. Fun fact.
Yes.
This first time that we're seeing him, you see he's got a big chip in his tooth, which Jim Carrey chipped when he was younger, and for the movie he had the cap removed because he thought it would add to the character.
He was right.
And he also went with the bowl cut.
Yeah, that man knew what he was doing.
He did. Very much so.
But that kicks us into our opening credits, where we watch Jim Carrey start to drive through Rhode Island, is where they are.
Yes.
As he's driving, he passes a 1984 sheepdog, and we meet Harry Dunn, played by
Yes.
Jeff Daniels.
And he's dressed as a giant dog.
Yes, and he is. We get a little introduction to him. He is a dog groomer. He is driving a gaggle of dogs to a dog show, but they need to be fed first, and so he's feeding them roast beef au jus and
Yeah,
hot dogs, and there's just ketchup and mustard rolling around the back of the van with the dogs.
yeah, for whatever reason, he decided to get them sandwiches and a hot dog.
Well, he couldn't send him to a show, a performance on an empty stomach.
No, he could not. He goes above and beyond for his clients.
That's right, and we hear that we know that because we hear over his radio that he had installed.
Yes. So he can talk to home base.
Right, because he's late. And he's like, well, I just had to stop. I didn't want to send them to a performance on an empty stomach. His boss is mad.
Yeah, he's like, just get them there.
Right.
And there's like
Ugh.
6 dogs.
Yeah. Yeah, 6 show dogs. So
Yes.
there's show quality dogs. And he's driving recklessly.
Flooring.
In Florida. Because these dogs are hanging on for dear life.
It's like the scene from Ferris Bueller with the 2 parking attendants on the joyride.
Yes, it's very much like that. He does that dog gets air.
It does.
It gets quite a bit of air.
You hear the dog go when it lands.
Yep. And then he almost runs over a jogger that looks suspiciously like a criminal as well.
He's like, hey.
And so we kind of get back and forth from them driving while the opening credits are. Also, fun fact: the opening credits are misspelled.
Yes.
A lot of them are misspelled.
And that's hysterical.
It is. But then we cut back to Lloyd, and he is at a great big house with door knockers, which he has a blast with.
Yeah.
And we meet Lauren Holly's character, Mary
Swanson.
But Lloyd is in love. It is love at first sight.
Oh yeah, he grabs
It
his
is-
chest like, oh,
It's that
hurts."
painful love. Mary says she'll be out in a minute, and he preps by trying to use some Banaka, but missing.
Yeah, very repeatable thing in the 90s.
And the joke
you
does
got your
come
little
back.
binocular, you shake it and you miss
Yeah,
it.
we did that a lot.
We did. I miss Banaka.
Is it not a thing anymore?
No, it's not. Unless you know it, unless you're listening to know where it is, let me know.
You can reach us at watchitbropodcast@gmail.com.
You can let us know how our podcast is doing and what you'd like to hear differently.
I'm just wondering where you get Banaka anymore.
Yeah, let's focus on that first.
So Mary comes out, and they are driving to the airport. We find out because Lloyd makes some small talk, and this scene's so, oh my gosh, it's so iconic. It's so classic
It is.
because you see him. He's thinking about how to, and he just goes for it. He jumps in with both feet. Well, what? Why are you going to the airport? Flying somewhere.
She's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you guess? He's like, well, I saw your luggage, and then when I noticed the airline ticket, I put 2 and 2 together. He's proud of himself for his powers of deduction.
He is, and unabashedly so. He's
Yeah.
these two do not seem to realize how idiotic they are.
No, I don't think they have a clue.
They don't have a clue. They're just doing their thing.
Just going for it. Well, and then he notices that Mary's a little nervous, which is important to the story, and so he asks.
Yes, it is.
And she tells him that she is a little nervous. To which he fully turns around and says, "Well, relax. Flying is really safe. You're far more likely to get in an accident on your way to the airport." To which we see him run a red light and cause a massive explosion with a car and a fuel truck.
Yeah, just in the background, the explode. Poof. You're like, oh gosh.
Yeah, I mean, it's played for laughs, but still,
is.
you don't really. I mean, you think you're like, wow, but you don't. You dismiss it pretty quickly after.
Right,
After
because
it happens.
it's just a quick split second thing and it's gone. And you're like, oh, they're still on their way to the airport. Okay.
And then and then she tells him to ask him to watch the road. And this always reminds me of Steve from Blue's Clues. the way he turns, he's like, "Oh, right, good thinking." A lot of bad drivers out there. For some reason, that good thinking just was like, "That's Steve from Blue's Clues." I,
Yeah,
I,
I can
I
see
don't,
that a little
I
bit.
don't know why. It just every time still.
Quick fun fact:
Yes,
these two got married in real life for a year after this movie.
I was gonna say it was only like a 10-minute marriage because reasons.
Yeah, but
But yeah, they were briefly married. Till we cut to Harry dropping off his pups and Mrs. Noogieburger.
actually, I believe the timing on this is good because when he said there's a lot of bad drivers, that's when we get the sheepdog van getting air and landing as it pulls into the just before it pulls in.
Yeah, it cuts to Harry finishing his reckless driving campaign and
Yeah.
dropping off the pups. And like I said, Mrs. Noogieburger or Newborn or whatever her. I never actually land on what her name is.
Do you want me to find it?
No, it's like newborn or Noogleborn or something. I don't think it's important to the story.
I mean, it could
Anyway,
be. It's not.
she's it's not fun spoilers. It's not.
Fun
But
fact.
she
Fun fact. Spoilers. It's
not. We don't see her again. Um, but she's angry, and because she barely has any time to primp her pups, and Harry very confidently says, "You're not going to need to primp these because I've bathed them and I've clipped them myself." And he stands by his work, and he opens up his sheepdog, and they are covered in ketchup and mustard. And he recants and says, "On second thought, you might just want to run a comb through them."
give it a little fluff.
Yeah. But no, these pups are going to need to be reset. Reset. Re-
We're gonna reset the pups.
yeah. She's got her work cut out for her.
Yeah, and he's 45 minutes late.
Yeah. And she'll
So
only have like 10 minutes to get them ready. So then we cut back to Lloyd
yes,
dropping Mary off at the airport in a very, very wonderfully, wonderfully awkward scene.
it is insanely awkward.
It is so bad because he's dropping her off and she offers him a tip. And he's, I couldn't possibly accept that. Not after all we've been through. And she's,
She's like, okay, thanks. Well, I'm gonna go now.
yeah. And the way, I mean, she made some acting choices that totally worked in this.
Yes.
Like, and yeah.
It's like
And
she's not completely creeped out by him, but she's just wanted to get away.
she wants to get away. She wants to leave. She doesn't find him creepy. I think she gets that there's something that the neighbors aren't home or something like that.
But she's
Uh,
got a lot going on in her life too, so
right. And then he's like, "How about a hug?"
which is it's that above and beyond service of your limo driver.
It
You
is.
get to the airport safely and you get a hug on the way out.
And it's not just a hug. It's like a deluxe hug.
Yeah. He's tearing up a little bit. He's like,
He
"Oh."
hates goodbyes. And then gives her a real good squeeze. And
Yep.
she's about to say something, and he puts his finger to her lips. Shh, let's go.
Yep.
Oh man, the introduction to Lloyd Christmas is just it. Wow.
Yeah.
So he leaves, and he's watching her walk through the airport. Gives her one more farewell, and crashes into the car in front of him.
Goodbye, my love. Just
Rear ends the car. Mary sets down her bag and then
so
leaves it.
I was gonna say I've seen a lot of airbags go off in movies. Some of them are just black plastic garbage bags that you can tell because you got the seam and everything. Some of them look more like um, actual airbags than other ones. This one looks like a weather balloon. It's big, it's kind of squishy, and it's pliable. It adds to the comedy of him trying to get untangled from it.
Right, because he notices that she leaves her briefcase, and so he's in a full on panic
Yes, yes, he
at
is.
this point that she has left her bag, and he's like gnawing at the airbag like a chihuahua, trying to get free. And then we meet our bad guys,
Yes, this is Mike Starr and
Karen Duffy
yes.
playing Shay and Mental.
So, fun fact
Yes.
from me, I never realized what his name was. I didn't know if I just never paid attention to it. But there's a couple times when he gets on the phone, like, yeah, it's mental.
Yeah.
I thought he was describing what was wrong with these two. Yeah, these guys don't know anything. It's just mental.
No, his name is Joe Menalino, and they call him Mental.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, but they're commenting that, okay, she made the drop, we pick it up,
We get our payday.
we get our payday, and everything goes down without a hitch. Well, there is a hitch, and his name is Lloyd Christmas.
Right. I mean, ideally, the plan works perfectly fine, and unless you got this psychotic
Right.
limo driver that's
If it's
watching.
if it's anybody else, everything goes fine
Right.
because the limo driver drops off Mary and moves on to his next job. He's not
Right.
desperately in love with her.
He does not slowly drive alongside her as she walks to the airport. It doesn't crash into the other car. It's drop off, goodbye.
Yeah, he does his job and leaves. But she gets Lloyd Christmas says because she apparently rolls a 20 for picking limo drivers. If you want to spoil the rest of the movie.
She rolls something.
No, yeah, she might have rolled a 1.
It could
We'll,
go
we'll,
either way.
we'll get into it later.
Yeah.
At the end. But yeah, Lloyd, they're about to make the grab, and then Lloyd comes barreling through the both of them, makes a slide grab for the briefcase, and hauls Keister,
Yep.
and passes a lady in a nurse uniform and says, "Move it or lose it, sister."
Yeah.
And
Was it a nurse or a nun?
it wasn't a nun. But yeah, he goes up the escalator, and he essentially plays eeny, meeny, miny, mo to find Mary's flight.
Yeah.
Goes to the gate where you see the airport worker pulling down the Aspen sign. So, oh yeah, we totally glossed over the fact that she mentions he's flying to Aspen,
Yes.
California, apparently.
Yeah. Lloyd's
California, beautiful.
not good with geography.
No, he's not. Which goes great in a road trip movie.
Yeah.
But so yeah, she's flying to Aspen, so he remembers that. He gets to the gate as the guy's taking down the Aspen sign, so I guess he finds her and she was almost late to her flight.
Yeah.
Planes don't usually take off that fast.
No, I mean it's pulled away from the gate. And
Right.
maybe it took him a little bit longer to deduce where exactly he's going.
Yeah,
We just didn't see that.
maybe, yeah. But so yeah, he gets there and he's running down the jetway and the guy's like, "Sir, you can't go in there." And he's like, "It's okay." And pulls out his badge. "I'm a limo driver."
It just keeps
going.
running. The worker goes to the window and looks out.
Watches as Lloyd falls onto the tarmac.
Yep. Right out the door or
Yep.
right out the gangway.
Fun fact,
Yes.
they used this shot for the trailer,
They did.
but a different take.
Really?
Yeah, because if you watch the trailer, Jim Carrey is face down on the tarmac.
Ah.
In the movie, he's on his back.
Probably an editing like it'd be funnier if I'm looking up.
Yeah, 'cause he's anyway. Jim Carrey makes noises. It's funny.
He does.
I like how we're going through this movie without I'm not looking at my notes. Okay, so yeah, Lloyd and Harry both return home at the same time. Harry's still in the sheepdog. Lloyd had to take a cab because they both got fired.
They did.
And they yeah, so first Lloyd's like, they're like, "Oh, how was your day?" And Lloyd's like, "I got fired again." They always get mad when you leave the scene of an accident. Or no, I fell off the tarmac again.
Yeah.
And Harry's like, "Oh yeah, I lost my job too." And Lloyd, why is Lloyd like, "Oh man, you're one pathetic loser"? No offense. It's like you got fired too.
Because he's taking every opportunity to get the upper hand.
I guess.
But yeah, when he mentions that they don't like it when when you leave the scene of an accident, is he talking about the fender bender that he ran away from, or the explosion that he caused and drove away from?
I want to say the fender bender because
No.
the explosion was probably a fatality. So he would have been held up probably a whole lot longer.
Probably.
But they start chatting. We learn that we see the worm farm that Lloyd had mentioned to Mary when he was making small talk
Yep.
that Harry and Lloyd are saving up to open their own worm store.
I've got worms.
Yeah, and
We also meet Petey, their bird.
their bird Petey, yeah, little parakeet, and then Harry notices the briefcase and asks about it, and he's like, "Oh, I met the most beautiful woman in the world, left it behind," and he says, "Yeah, it's locked real good," and he'd have to do
Like, what's
some,
in there? You're like, what do you take me for? I wouldn't
yeah, he'd
violate
have
their
to be,
privacy like that. Is it
yeah,
locked? Yeah, really good.
he just kind of knocks it on the table, and then we get a knock at the door, and we see that it's Shay and Mental,
Yep.
and they're looking through the peephole, and they're like, "He's got a gun," and Lloyd's like, "Did you pay the gas bill?" And we deduce from Harry's look that no, in fact, he didn't. And so they decide they're going to run from.
Grabs him by the face. Do you realize what you've done?
I said we bail, and so they leave.
Yeah. They grab the briefcase and they run.
Yep, yep.
Because Lloyd is not letting this out of his sight.
No, he's not. And then eventually, Mental and Shay get in,
Yeah.
and Mental wants to send a message by trashing the apartment.
I love her delivery of the line. She looks around, is like, I don't think they're gonna get that message.
And at that moment, she then seals the fate of poor Petey
Yeah,
because
it's
the scene ends with Mental or Joe grabbing Petey.
saying
this
I
case.
ta putty tat.
Yeah. So we cut to nighttime. Our boys return after a day of job hunting, which good on them getting right back out there. And then it reveals that there's not a single job in all of Providence, Rhode Island,
Nope, there's nothing
unless
out
you
there.
want to work 40 hours a week.
Yeah, who wants to do that?
Yeah, but they're heading home. They part ways. Harry's gonna go in the apartment, and Lloyd's gonna go to the store and just get the essentials because they're almost out of dough. And we get like a snap cut to Lloyd with two giant cases of Coors Light, an oversized cowboy hat, a paddle ball game,
Yep.
and he sees a newspaper and apparently has to buy that.
So this is the first time I noticed this too. It's not a newspaper. It's an adult publication in a newspaper delivery box that you put coins in.
I never got there.
I'll write on the side. It says Rhode Island, basically Lady of the Night underneath it.
Okay, I thought that was just graffiti.
No, because you see it on top of the publication. I'm like, I've never noticed that before. And when you see him grab it and leave his wallet in the the thing, it's like, oh yeah, that's he just
Oh man, yeah, You could have not pointed that out, and I never would have got there. But yes, as Marshall mentioned, he leaves his wallet in there, and perfect timing. A nice little old lady drives by on her motorized scooter and does not have change for $1 so that Lloyd can get his wallet back. So
no. She says she does not have change,
right, and so he asks her to watch his stuff while he goes in and breaks $1. She agrees,
and he seals his fate.
and he seals his fate by giving her a backhanded compliment.
Yeah. Do you have the quote?
Do you have the quote?
I looked like you pulled it up.
No.
Oh, okay.
I pulled up her name. Do you have the quote?
It's like, oh,
So she agrees to watch his stuff, and he says, "Great, thanks." He goes, true what they say. Senior citizens, though slow and dangerous behind the wheel, still can serve a purpose.
yeah.
And then as he's leaving, he goes, "Don't you go dying on me." And a fun fact:
yes.
the elderly lady is played by Connie Sawyer,
Okay.
who was in all kinds of movies. She was in everything. She was all over. She passed away in 2018 at the age of 105.
Wow, what a run.
Yeah.
It looks like a lot of her credits are old lady, old woman, elderly lady, elderly passenger.
Yes. Yes, she was old for a lot of her career.
She was an old lady in How I Met Your Mother.
Yep.
Second old lady in ER. Floofy in Boy Meets World.
Yes, that was where I knew her from. I didn't write it down. She was Floofy in the episode where Corey and Topanga go off to elope.
Old lady in Home Improvement. she played a motel clerk in a TV movie, Roseanne and Tom Behind the Scenes.
Okay, so surprise, our next movie's gonna be
Oh,
because that sounds like an instant classic.
it does. Oh,
Hey, can we move on with the movie now?
yeah. Let's move on with the movie. That's something I'll have to readdress later.
Yeah, we will. So, Lloyd leaves, and we get a very unhappy look on the old lady's face, and it cuts right to the apartment where Lloyd walks in and goes, "Ah!" And Harry asks where the booze are, and he said he was robbed by a sweet little old lady on a motorized scooter. And
Didn't even
Harry,
see it coming.
yeah, he didn't even see it coming. Harry laments with him that he had a bad night too because Petey died.
And in my mind, she did have change, and she took his wallet.
See, in my mind, she didn't rob him. She just left.
Oh,
After he insulted her,
she
she was
just
like,
left, and then some guy came.
Forget you, dude." And then some other people were like, "Free beer."
Interesting. Yeah, I always pictured her loading up her little scooter and leaving, taking his wallet and getting out of there.
Maybe. Who's to say? Anyway, Petey died.
Yeah, yes. That's why Lloyd is sad, or that's why Harry is sad because Petey died.
And Lloyd, of course, what? How did Petey die? He's like, yeah, his head fell off. He was pretty old.
Lloyd looks in the cage. He's like, "Oh no!"
And that is apparently the catalyst here. That is the straw that breaks the camel's back because Lloyd is fed up. We got no money for food. We got creditors chasing us. Our pets' heads are falling off.
Yes, it is.
He is ready to go. He
Yes,
wants to go where the beer flows like wine.
someplace
women-
beautiful.
Someplace beautiful, where the women instinctively flock like the salmon of Capistrano. He's talking about a little place called Aspen. But Harry is not sure because of the French, which no.
And then he
then-
pieces it together. He's like, "Wait, you just want to go there for the girl?"
And Lloyd ain't even trying to hide it. He's like, yeah, so. So I want to go somewhere where we know somebody who can plug us into the social pipeline. And I'm going, you don't know her.
He's like, "I'm sick and tired of being alone."
Yeah, and we get a killer acting moment from Jim Carrey that doesn't fit with the tone of the rest of the movie. That just like, there have been times where I'm like, man, you almost tear up with his performance there.
Yeah.
And you're like,
He's
what?
got to pull you. He's got to pull you in and get you to believe in this journey. It's like, why else would they go? Like, okay, I get it. He's sad. He's frustrated. He doesn't want to be a nobody. He doesn't want to be alone. Let's go on this journey with him. Go, Lloyd.
Yeah, so he sells Harry on that, and they are going.
And yeah,
And our road trip begins with them leaving Providence, Rhode Island.
this is our like 6th road trip movie.
Road trip movies are great.
They are.
And we eventually cut back to our heroes, and Lloyd is running in the van,
Yeah.
which is still something that I do from time to time.
Yeah. Just
It feels like you're running at an incredible rate,
he's
which
like,
it
"Come on,
really
we're not."
it doesn't.
It does.
It doesn't at all.
But Harry's like, "Knock it off. We're not even out of Connecticut yet, and you're already annoying me."
Yeah. And then we cut to Lloyd eating some snacks, and Harry is like, What are you doing with that? When did you get those?" And Lloyd's like, I picked them up when we stopped for fuel." And they reveals that they're on a very tight budget, which who knew they knew how to budget? But I digress. And Harry scolds him. We need to talk about all expenditures. We're on a very tight budget. And Lloyd's like, "No, dude. I was able to raise some extra money. I sold some stuff to Billy in 4C, the blind kid. Harry wants to know what he sold
Yeah, it's
him.
like, "What'd you sell?"
What'd you sell that kid? He goes, "Oh, baseball cards, sack of marbles, Petey."
The cough before he says PD.
Yeah.
PD.
You sold my dead parrot to a blind kid? Petey didn't even have a head.
It's like, "Harry, I took care of it."
He's offended that
Yeah.
he wouldn't think of that.
He's incensed that he wouldn't take care of it.
Like, come on, I handled it. And so we cut to little Billy in 4C, and he is petting the bird that apparently has half a roll of scotch tape around his neck.
Head's taped on.
It's taped on. And well, what gets me about this is they use that scene to show Mental and Shay checking on Harry and Lloyd, and Shay pieces it together.
Yeah, she looks at the bird and the kid's like, "Oh, jeez."
It's like, I'm sure she thinks that they're already sending a message because she is very like, there's a blind kid petting a bird with a head taped on. The bird that we killed has been given to this kid who's sitting out front.
And then there's another message on the door.
There's a note on the door addressed to the gas man, and Mental is impressed with these guys. He's like, man, these guys must have been following us for weeks. And Shay's like, how do you figure? And he's like, gas man. How do they know that I got gas?
And he
And
takes some of his pills.
we forgot to mention that you see him taking pills because he has a stomach ulcer.
Yeah, these two guys are the men who knew too little.
Yeah, I'm glad it's your pick. Because if it was my pick, then that means my last 3 movies would have been wildly similar.
I like the 2 spy adventures that end with an aircraft exploding. The bad guys.
Yeah. But we cut to them at a truck stop. They have pulled over for some lunch.
They have, and this is a
Very
that's a
iconic scene.
very iconic, very classic scene.
Very, very quotable because it leads with them coming in, and there's like a jukebox. You put money in from the table, and it
Yeah,
plays the
it's got
music.
the little card so you can see in there.
And they're like, "Oh, they got the monkeys. They were a major influence on the Beatles."
Fun fact, they were not.
No, no, they were not at all.
It was indeed the other way around.
Yeah. And so they're getting ready to order, and they make, "Excuse me, Flo?" And they just think they're hysterical. And Flo, because her name tag actually says Flo,
It does.
is not impressed with the joke.
No.
And Lloyd asks, "What's the soup du jour?" And she goes, "It's the soup of the day." And Lloyd thinks, "That sounds good. He'll have that." Which, fun fact, soup du jour is
Yeah.
French for soup of the day.
Yes, it is. Flo, the TV show that he's referencing is Alice.
Yes, it is.
From the 70s.
I did not mention that. I meant to.
Yeah, he's trying to make a joke. Her name is actually Flo, so it doesn't work.
Yeah. And then, yeah, we don't ever find out what kind of soup the soup of the day is.
Oh yeah, no, it's the soup of the day. That sounds good.
good.
I'll have that.
And then Harry spills the salt, and Lloyd's like, "You got to throw some of your some salt over your right shoulder," and points to his left shoulder.
And then a bit straight out of Three Stooges.
Yes, it is. Harry takes the entire salt shaker and chucks it over his right shoulder, so he gets that right.
Yep.
But unfortunately hits a man named Seabass, and Seabass is not a very forgiving fellow.
He is not. We gonna say the line?
What line? Oh, no, we're not.
Okay.
Seabass is very, very perturbed that he got hit with a salt shaker, and he wants to know who did it, and he goes, "Who's the dead man that hit me with the salt shaker?" And no one's saying anything, but you see Lloyd selling out Harry very, very quickly, and then staring out the window.
A continuation of Lloyd's character to poke at Harry. I mean, because he made fun of him with the job loss, even though the same thing happened to him. It's great to call him out right there.
Yeah, Seabass gets some encouragement to beat up Harry. But he
Oh.
doesn't. He instead hawks a loogie into his burger.
And
And
then Lloyd proceeds to call him a wuss.
yeah, we cut to Lloyd finishing his food and be like, "Man, you really wimped out," even though he sold him out. And then Lloyd gets an idea, and this is great. This is a great idea.
It is a great
They
idea.
go over there and offer to make amends by buying the fellas at the table at Seabass's table a round of beers to bury the hatchet.
Mm-hmm.
At
Seabass wants Boilermakers.
4 Boilermakers, which at a diner, Boilermakers really
They carry it for Seabass.
apparently, yeah.
I'm guessing he's there quite a bit.
He seems like a regular because the lady reading the book, Of Course You're Angry, at the counter knows Seabass by name and is a bit put off by the fact that Seabass would offer to pick up their tab, which
Yeah.
that's the scam. He goes and tells the lady at the counter that due to the discretion, Seabass has offered to pick up the tab.
She just looks at us like, really?
Really? She's like, she ain't buying it. And he's like, if that's Seabass over there, and they'll let you.
Seabass waves and kind of points over at his table. It's like, okay, he's indicating that, yeah, that's it's all good.
Over here, put it here. Which Seabass is indicating the Boilermakers, and then Harry's like, oh, put these on there too. And she's like, sure. And they haul out of there.
Yep, they hop in their sheepdog and drive off.
Yep, and they're driving down the road, and Harry's like, that was brilliant. Where did you come up with that? And Lloyd's like, saw it in a movie once. And Harry's like, oh, they got so some guy dupes some guy into picking up his tab and gets away with it scot-free. And Lloyd's like, no, they catch up with him a half a mile down the road and slit his throat. It was a good one. But hey, I know it's a bad time. But when you got a minute, I gotta pee. Can you pull over? And Harry's like, no. Go ahead with your fun fact.
Fun fact.
Is it my fun fact?
The movie that Lloyd was referencing?
Yes.
It's called Something Wild. It was from 1986.
Yes.
And the character that pulled the scam in it was played by Jeff Daniels.
Yes, it was. Thank you for taking that from me.
You're welcome. A joke that only works really well with Jeff Daniels being in this movie.
You know what? I did not know that until this final watch, and the joke hit for me every time.
Oh no, the joke works there. The meta-ness of the joke, that there's a different level to it, knowing that as an actual movie that he's referencing that Jeff Daniels was in.
And Jeff Daniels is the one that ran the scam?
Yes.
Yeah. So Harry ain't pulling over for anything.
Yeah, no, he's freaked out. He's like, I'm not pulling over. They're gonna catch up with us.
Which I don't blame him.
Yeah.
They're in a vehicle that is very noticeable.
They are.
So Harry's like, you're peeing in the beer bottles in the back.
Yeah, grab a bottle out of the back and pee in that.
So he does. He pees. He fills up like 4 of them.
He does.
Harry is having to hold them.
He's like, grab me another bottle. This one's filling up. It's like, we'll stop it. It's like, I can't once I've started. It stings.
Hurry!
You can hear the
You can hear it fill it up.
Yeah, you're like, oh. He's like, oh, here, hold this.
And then he fills up another one, and Harry's like, "What are you, a camel?" And so I could only imagine that Jim Carrey is then doing an impression on what he thinks Lloyd would think a camel would sound like.
That's this weird little shudder thing.
And then they get pulled over.
They do. Lloyd has 4 full bottles in his hands as he's gripping the wheel.
Harry does.
Harry does. Sorry.
Yep. And then the motorcycle cop throws down his donut and pulls him over. And he's yelling.
One of my favorite jokes. They're still driving. The cop's next to him. He rolls down the window, crank window. He's got the beer in the other, all kind of pulled up in his hand, and he yells, "Pull over!" He's like, "No, it's a cardigan, but thanks."
Thanks for noticing. And then he specifies, "Pull the vehicle over." Oh, and then Jim Carrey leans over. Yeah, killer boots, man. And so they pull over, and we get another repeat actor on the podcast.
Yes.
Harland Williams, who was the Rocket Man.
Rocket Man.
Fun fact.
Ooh, yes, fun fact.
Harland Williams auditioned for the role of Lloyd.
That he did. Him and Jim Carrey are both from Ontario, Canada as well, and both born in 1962.
Those are all very fun facts. But this is not a very nice cop.
No. Oh, this is also Harlan Williams' first theatrical role.
It is. But he suspects them of drinking while driving. And he's playing an Irish cop.
you been sucking on Grandpa's cough medicine?
Doing a bit of boozing, have you? They're like, no, sir. He goes, yeah, well, what's that? Oh, that's nothing. Yeah, nothing, sir. He goes, yeah, well, I'll pass it over here. Because apparently he wants to just drink some random open roadies.
He's
And-
verifying.
Oh, that would be, verifying that it's nothing.
Yeah.
And they're like, I wouldn't do that, sir. I wouldn't, yeah. He goes, come on, pass over the booze, you little pumpkin pie haircutted freak. What?
It's such a random insult.
You know what? Because Rachel had the same reaction, like, what? And I don't know if it's just me, but I totally get why he said that. Like, yeah, pumpkin pie haircut freak. That for some reason, pumpkin pie fits that haircut. I don't know why.
It really does.
It makes absolute sense. It's totally perfect.
Oh. So yeah, this is continues our string of bad cops.
Yeah. We
And
need
not
we need
like-
a good
not like
Carl
corrupt-
Winslow or something.
Yeah, not like corrupt cops, just bad cops.
This cop might have been corrupt though, because he was
Yeah,
very,
yeah.
very aggressive and trying to drink.
Pumpkin pie haircut.
Which and then so he drinks it,
He does.
and they bless him. They really tried to warn him, and we get some little comedy
So-
from Harlan Williams.
We're little ticks.
Weird little ticks, and Lloyd offers him a Tic Tac, and he very angrily sends them on their way.
Yeah, tells them just to go
Get out of here,
as he starts retching,
because yeah.
which is valid.
Then we cut to Mary Swanson, which I also forgot to mention in the limo scene with her that they exchanged names.
Yes.
So Mary Swanson is her name, and she is finding out in this scene that the bad guys who have her husband kidnapped did not get the ransom that she dropped, which was in the briefcase. We know that Lloyd grabbed it. They don't know that Lloyd grabbed it.
Right. They think that they're just getting played.
Right, that they actually did grab the ransom, and they're saying they didn't, so they can get more money.
Yes.
Then we meet Mary's family ish,
Yep. Phoebe from Montauk
right? And then
and her dad.
who I didn't get, and then we meet Mr. Nicholas,
Yes.
who, fun fact, spoilers, I guess, is the bad guy.
Family bad guy and quote unquote family friend.
Right. But they're talking about they're doing like not a nature preserve, a wildlife benefit banquet dinner thingy, and they're
Protect the
talking
snow owls.
right, and they're talking about canceling it or whatnot, and the people agree that no, they should continue on as usual,
Yeah.
and then
Keep up appearances.
keep up appearances. They don't want to let on that something's wrong, and then we cut to Lloyd driving, and well, he's having a bit of a daydream,
He is.
and
He's having a daydream about Mary.
about Mary first.
Also, fun fact and hidden joke in the movie: if Lloyd and Mary did end up together, she would be Merry Christmas.
That is funny. I thought you were gonna say something about this scene coming up.
No,
Where he
not
knocks on the door. She opens it up and doves fly out, except one gets stuck behind her.
yeah, it's like she's got wings because the dove's just being held there by, I'm guessing, a grip or something, or it's just stuck in her sundress.
I always thought it was just stuck.
That could be.
But
It's a
they
good
were-
effect, though.
yeah, from there, he fantasizes about picking her up, and she's so happy for the briefcase that she introduces him to her family.
Yes,
to which he is just making them laugh hysterically
Yeah,
with
he's in
very
his mind. He's
very juvenile jokes. At one point, he lights a fart
which
off.
make us laugh.
So I mean, I guess he's not far off because this was this sure.
It's like, are you laughing at the jokes or just how stupid he's being in the scene? Or it's like it's all kind of funny.
I think it's the fact of like at some point in every man's life, I think he's had a similar daydream.
Where it's just like I'm gonna be impressing everybody. I'm gonna be cool. This is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, like, I mean, imagine you're like 14, 15, 13 years old, that age range. You fall in love for the first time.
Yeah,
You know, your imagination, you still have kid imagination, so that's running rampant. And I'm sure everyone has had that kind of similar daydream about their first crush. Not to the extent that Lloyd did, but you have those.
this fiery flatulence.
Fiery flatulence aside, probably.
Just whoosh.
And everyone, and I was watching it, and I go, how hard of a scene must that have been to shoot? Because you have to fake laugh enough at that, and you have it sound somewhat real, and it seemed like a very hard scene to shoot and very awkward scene to shoot.
Yeah.
But then they're out to dinner,
Yes,
and
they are.
the waiter gets a little
Gomezzy.
get I was gonna say handsy, but Gomezzy works just as well with Miss Mary Swanson, and Lloyd has to defend his dignity and honor and his woman,
Yeah.
and so he
In a tribute to Bruce Lee.
is it a tribute to Bruce Lee?
Yes.
I know, I'm sure it was meant to be a tribute to Bruce Lee.
In an attempted tribute to Bruce Lee.
It is because Bruce Lee was extremely popular in the early '90s with his what,
Yeah.
and Jim Carrey, of course, takes that to the next level. And I'm not going to describe all of the weird things he does. Watch the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
But
he does. Well, first he breaks the guy's arm, the waiter's arm, and then the final boss comes out.
yeah, he beats up a couple other waiters, and then the final boss, the guy in the kitchen, comes out.
Yeah, and who knows the martial arts? And it starts off as your classic, hero gets beaten up, and then he rises back up and performs a vivisection.
Oh.
Fun fact: Jim Carrey really can sing, and that was him.
Yes.
And
Yes. Man, I wish I had that. I had a CD growing up of celebrities sing the Beatles.
yeah, you
And
do.
he sings "I Am the Walrus," which is weird foreshadowing because one of the lines is "I am the Eggman," and he plays Eggman in the Sonic movies later.
Yes. And fun fact, many people think it's Cuckoo Cachoo, but it is actually Goo Goo Gajoob.
Ah, I have
And
not
yes,
looked at the lyrics.
and yes, I'm actually keeping that in the podcast.
Good.
However, yes, back to the movie. Jim Carrey rises up and rips the guy's still beating heart out of his chest and puts it in a doggy bag and hands it to him.
Yes, he does.
Figured that was the best delivery for that.
Yeah, yes. It's a little doggy bag.
And then
Oh, we're still in the daydream.
yeah, we're still in the daydream. And now it's after dinner, and they're back at Mary's place.
Getting a little more cozy.
They're gonna make out, and you get one of probably the grossest cinematic kiss I've ever seen in my life to date. And wow,
which realizing they were dating during this makes it so much better for me because that would be very awkward if they weren't dating.
I think it was awkward even though they were dating.
I'm sure it was awkward, but I mean he's got his mouth basically plungered to her face.
Yeah, grunting like a wildebeest.
Yeah, it's like a Muppet where his mouth goes really wide and it just
Yeah, he opens his mouth as wide as he can and just like engulfs her face with it. And she's just along for the ride.
yeah.
And how, I mean, it must not have been awkward for them because clearly she dated and then eventually married to Jim Carrey, so she must
Yeah,
dig his kind of comedy.
definitely better to do that with somebody you're dating than just it's like, okay, this
That's
is gonna
someone
be
you're working with.
this is gonna be awkward, but I'm gonna suck on your face.
Yeah. And well, how many times did they have to do that? Because
How many takes where she just
how
cracks
many
up?
times did she just like, yeah, do you just not make it through?
Breathe through your nose and relax.
Close your eyes and pray.
Just let Jim do his thing. Um,
So bad. But yes, they start to progress their they start getting ready to do their do some taxes,
yeah, he takes off his blazer.
and she starts removing her dress,
Yeah.
and that's when Jim Carrey, that's when Lloyd comes back to reality when he realizes that he's looking at actual headlights.
Yeah, it's actually a great transition.
It's a great transition, it's a great joke, it's a great reveal. And it's yeah,
Look,
cuz
it's just high
it's
beams flashing.
yeah, and he's just staring and he's really confused. And then he comes back to reality and he's head on with a semi
Is it the wrong lane? Lights are going off.
and he swerves and knocks over the beer bottles. You can hear him clank. You're like, "Oh,
They did not clean that up.
no."
Harry wakes up. You good? You want me to drive?
I forget what his response is.
No, no, I've got it.
Yeah.
Oh, not even in
And
Aspen yet.
but then no. But then yeah, we're still a ways in. It's gonna be a long one, but I figured it would be.
Yeah.
But so we cut to them in they're staying in a hotel room, and it's one of them romance hotel rooms.
Yeah.
They are in a heart-shaped hot tub,
A very small heart-shaped hot tub.
and Harry reveals that he once stayed at a place like this, not as nice,
No, not as nice.
but classy. And we get a little, some backstory. Lloyd asks if some little filly broke his heart, and he's no, no, it was a woman. Freda Felcher,
Yep.
fun fact, makes an appearance in both sequels to this movie.
Yeah. That's right. I forgot what the plot of the second one was.
The prequel?
Yeah. No, no,
Yeah.
the third one, sorry.
I haven't seen the third one.
Oh, okay.
I was told not to. But anyway, yes.
Ah, can't remember if I've seen it or not.
Harry mentions that Freda Felcher from Cranston? Scranton?
Granton.
Cranston. Scranton.
Granson? Grayson.
Yeah.
Scranton?
And
Grayson.
Harry's like, "Oh, you know her, Lloyd?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I remember you talking about her. So what happened?" He's like, "Oh, she sent me out of the blue one day. She sends me a John Deere letter." Nope, your John letter, but it really is.
John
And,
Deere letter's better.
oh, it's so great. And it's like, well, what did it say? Oh yeah, I read it. She made something about me not listening to her enough or something. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention. But the part that hurt the most for poor little Harry was the fact that he thought she was seeing somebody else.
Yeah.
And we get a very guilty Lloyd.
We do get a very guilty Lloyd.
But then they kind of make nothing of it. And we cut to Mental in a phone booth checking in with, I think this is when the reveal that Nicholas is the bad guy of the film, the head bad guy.
Yeah, yeah. This is when he gets on the phone. He's like, "Yeah, it's mental," which is
Yeah.
why I thought they were saying these guys just have a mental issue. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, he's briefing him on the situation, and there's a guy outside the phone booth who's very mad.
And that guy is played by Fred Stoller.
And I in my notes here, because he keeps like banging on the whatnot, causing just a ruckus, and Mental can't concentrate. So I have in my notes that he punches out the dad from Lizzie McGuire.
That's not the dad from Lizzie McGuire.
He looks like the dad from Lizzie McGuire.
A little bit with the glasses and the hair in this, yeah.
Yeah, it just
But the dad from Lizzie McGuire was not David Carradine, the other Carradine.
oh, was it
He was
Carradine?
yeah, it was in Revenge of the Nerds.
Okay.
He was Lewis.
But going back to that, he does punch him out through the payphone glass.
Yes, yes, he does. And that he's like, I can't hear you. Get closer. Just punches out.
Straight through, just levels this guy.
But this guy is it's Fred Stoller. He's been in a lot of things. He was a waiter in Friends at one of Monica's restaurants.
Yes. He was the one that didn't like that. He was the one that.
He was,
Yes.
yeah. He really liked Joey's character when he worked at the restaurant. His name was Dragon.
Yeah. He's the one that Monica got the number from to throw Chandler a bachelor party.
Yeah. So she's not.
I missed this. I don't think we've done this before.
But he's just he's a good character actor. He's been in a lot of stuff. He shows up every once in a while, just like Mr. Heckles does.
Yeah. Yep. You always see him and you're like, oh, it's that guy. I like him. I don't know. I think the guy's pretty bold. I wouldn't mess with Mental.
No, he's a
Just looking at him, it's like that's probably a guy that would kill somebody.
yeah. That's a guy that's trying to kill somebody.
Sure. But I mean, even without context, you're probably like, you know what? This guy wants to use the phone. I'm just gonna wait my turn.
Yeah, you can use the phone. That's fine. Oh wait.
Yeah. Especially when you have the stature of that guy.
Yeah.
So we cut to the next day, and it opens with Shay being like, "Let me just shoot both of them, and we'll be done with this." And apparently, Mental has a code of ethics because he's like, "No, we don't know who they are. You don't kill people you don't know."
Right. It's just
And Shay's kind of like, "What?"
she's like that's
That's
stupid. Just
stupid.
let me kill them and get the money and be done with it. That's
We just end it right now. I have 2 bullets in their head. Grab the briefcase. Done and done.
yeah.
But
They're also still operating on the impression that these guys are really good at what they do.
yeah, well, I'm not sure Mental. I think that's part of it. Is Mental isn't sure if they're really really good or what's going on. I think he's starting to have his doubts that they're actually really really good, and
He's just curious and has to know.
and he just kind of has to know, like,
It's like,
'cause
will
if he,
these guys be a problem for me later down the road, or is this a one and done kind of thing,
or
or
is this
just
a like, can I like get in good with these guys, steal the briefcase from them, and just leave them on their way?
right? Because if they don't know, I mean, if they're actually working for somebody or something's going on, you don't want to upset the guys they're working for if you don't know who they are.
Right. You
It's
don't
like,
want them
hey,
after you.
you get somebody else who's worse than Nick or something. It's like, hey, you killed my 2 guys. What's up?
Yeah. I mean,
Where's
you
my
don't want to
money
make
now?
you don't want to make it worse on yourself.
Right. Which makes sense looking at it through that lens. That's
Yeah.
why he doesn't want to just kill them because he has no idea who they're working for and he thinks they're working for somebody.
He thinks they might be working for somebody.
Right, right. He's not
He's
willing to just let it go as these guys are idiots. He needs
and
to know what's going on.
I think Shay's arrived there that these guys are just morons.
Yeah.
And so they come up with a plan.
I don't think they're gonna get that message.
Great. Yeah, that's one of her best lines. But yeah, so Shay's gonna lay down in the seat of the car, and they're gonna follow the sheepdog after they pick up Mental.
Yeah.
So they're coming up. They pull over. He asks for a ride into town. Lloyd's like, "I'm sorry, dude. We usually don't take hitchhikers, but I'm gonna go with my instincts on this one. Saddle up, partner."
This is
And this,
there's a movie I watched called The Gamers. It's about a D&D group, and one of the characters dies and has to introduce a new character in. And you get this with D&D groups too, where you're trying. How do you get this new character in? And the bit is like, "Hi, new guy. You seem trustworthy. Would you like to join us?" Like, yes, I would. And now he's part of the group, and this feels very much like that. It's like, you seem trustworthy. Come on.
yeah, no, that's pretty much all that happened here. And so there, I mean, we're in the van, we're driving. There's not even a seat.
No, he's just in the middle.
Is there like a 5-gallon bucket he's on? I mean, what is he's got
I
to be sitting on something,
there must be because that was an opening. That's where all the little beer bottles were sitting.
right? So they must have had like a bucket in back, or he had a something to sit on,
Maybe he's sitting on the briefcase, just kind of up on its end, or
maybe.
or one of their I don't know if they have luggage. We'll just say it's a 5-gallon bucket kind of wedged in there.
Yeah, 'cause I've done that. And they're playing tag
Yeah.
with each other,
No,
and
no
then
tags backsies.
triple stamped it. You get triple stamp, double stamp. You get triple stamp, double stamp. You get Lloyd. And Mental's like, just
Stop.
stop. And then there's a little bit of quiet, and then completely ad libbed. This part is completely ad libbed.
You can see the
And
look. You can see the look on Jeff Daniels' face. Like,
Jeff Daniels legitimately breaks when this happens. Jim Carrey's like, "You want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?" And then I'm not going to do the sound because we have listeners.
okay.
And yeah, but when he starts making it, you see Jeff Daniels immediately break, and they cut it.
It's definitely
And
not scripted. They were just sitting there in the car waiting for the next bit, and it took a little too long. And Jim Carrey's like, "I'm gonna do this."
Jim Carrey is really into character.
Yeah,
And
the Farrelly brothers have said about 15% of this movie is ad libbed.
that little.
Yeah,
And so yeah, but so Mental's like losing it at this point. He's just like, guys, just. He's still trying to be calm. Can we just listen to the radio or something, fellas? And Lloyd's offended. Lloyd is offended at that. Oh, I don't know about
yes.
offended. He's like, radio,
Radio.
idiot. You ready, Harry? And Harry's ready for this. They've been preparing their whole life for this performance. And they go into a rendition of Mockingbird
Yes,
by
I don't know.
on Denver.
Ah, I had something about that.
Oh no, Inez and Charlie Fox.
You gotta cut that out.
Oh yeah,
Fun fact: this song that they're singing is the same one the Griswolds are singing at the beginning of their road trip to Wally World and vacation.
yeah it is. Oh wait,
And dare I say, it's a better road trip song than Three Coins in a Fountain.
and then it was later covered by James Taylor and Carly Simon.
Okay.
What did you say?
Oh, I said this is a much better road trip song than Three Coins in a Fountain.
But not Flintstones.
Right.
So they're singing the Mockingbird song, and Mental has decided that apparently sometimes you can kill people you don't know.
Yeah, he's pulling his gun out from his coat. He's like, I'm done. I don't care anymore.
And then all of a sudden there's more hitchhikers, and Lloyd's like, pick them up!
So they have a whole Mexican family with them.
Yeah, they do. And that man is not playing that guitar at all.
I'm not even sure if those people were actually talking or singing.
Probably not.
Just 80 yard over.
Yes, but they do a funny little um lyrical edit to the Mockingbird song,
Yes.
and they're doing a full van performance now with a guitar accompaniment. I did totally gloss over the joke of where they're driving and the bet,
Oh, you did.
which is
We
not
don't have to
important
touch on everything. It has
or
no
relevant to the story whatsoever, but
It was funny.
that Lloyd tries to get Harry to make a bet with him, and I don't even remember what the bet was.
The original bit?
Yeah, that got Harry to be like, I don't bet, you know that, I don't gamble. And Lloyd's like, I can get you, I bet you $20 I can get you gambling by the end of the day. And Harry's like, no, I'll give you 3-1 odds, 5-1, 10-1, and 10-1. Harry's like, all right, I'll take that bet. Yeah, it was great. He goes, I'm gonna get you. No, you're not. I'm gonna get you. No, you're not. I don't know how, but I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Then they stopped at lunch at Dante's Inferno.
Yes. The place with really hot peppers
Right.
and food.
And food. And they ask Mr. Mentalino, we get his full name, if he wants to try an atomic pepper. But he does not because he has the stomach ulcer.
Yes.
But Harry and Lloyd
Don't know that.
don't know that, and they want to get each other to try an atomic pepper. And they both agree, but neither one of them wants to go first. So Mental has them do it at the same time,
Which is a great idea.
which is a great idea, and they do. And they start freaking out because it's so hot.
Yeah. He looks very
And
pleased with himself. Mental
he does. He excuses himself to the restroom or to use the phone.
Yeah.
To use the phone, actually.
Yes.
And we get the ketchup and mustard scene.
Where you eat a spicy pepper and then pour mustard and ketchup on your tongue. He's like, here, this helps.
So, fun fact here.
Ooh, fun fact. I like fun facts.
Are you familiar with Blippi?
Yes. Yes, I am familiar with Blippi. This is not where I expected this fun fact to go.
So there is an episode of Blippi where he is getting his truck dirty to wash it, and he squirts ketchup and mustard all over it.
Okay.
And then I believe he's eating his lunch or a salad, and there's some peppers in there that are hot, and he eats some of the peppers, and he's like, "Oh, it's really spicy," and he grabs the ketchup and mustard and squirts it into his mouth and goes, this helps." And I saw it the first time, and I go, "Dumb and Dumber." He's quoting Dumb and Dumber.
That's hysterical.
It was so good.
That
I've
is
seen it.
funny.
Yeah, and I'm randomly, me and Finley are sitting there watching the Blipster, and you get a Dumb and Dumber reference, and I'm like, that's clear as day. That man is clearly referencing Dumb and Dumber for specifically my benefit,
Yes. Yes, he
for the
is.
for the benefit of every dad and mom, well, probably just dad, who has to watch his programming. But then they recover because of the not salt and pepper, ketchup and mustard.
Yeah.
And they decide they're going to pull a prank on Mr. Mentalino.
Yes, yes, they do.
And they cram his burger full of them atomic peppers.
Yes, they just put like 4 or 5 in there.
And this was their moment. This was their moment because Mental Joe Mental gets back, and he's asking them like, what do you guys, what are you doing? You have like no luggage, which apparently they didn't bring anything.
He's got that briefcase in the back.
Just the briefcase. And they're like, "Oh, the briefcase isn't even ours. We're returning it to a lady you left it at the airport."
Yeah. How's your burger?
Yeah, very obvious they did something to his burger. Like, I wouldn't have eaten it.
No. Eat up and we'll tell you.
Yeah, I would have at least opened it up to be like, "What did you guys do?" And it clicks for Mental that these guys are just dumb as rocks.
Yes.
He's like, "Wow, real okay. You guys don't even know her. You don't know anything about it. You left it, and now you're traveling across the country to give it to her. Talk about
Yeah.
being at the wrong place at the wrong time."
Yeah, he's laughing to himself like, I'm just gonna kill these idiots.
Okay, so that's what. Okay, so he was gonna kill him.
I believe so.
I thought he was like, "Oh, these guys are morons. I'm just gonna take the briefcase and leave." So you really think Mental was gonna kill him?
Yes, I do. That's why I think he was laughing. He's like, oh man, this is way easier than I thought it was gonna be. Just kill these 2, take the briefcase, and I'm gone.
See, I was just like, "Oh man, these guys have no idea what's going on. I don't even have to kill these guys. I just have to steal the briefcase."
Yeah, that could go that way. I think he kind of likes killing though, and these guys have been giving him a hard time.
I don't know. I think it's a fun story. I don't think he kills them. Let us know what you think, listeners. Watch it bro podcast at gmail.com or on the X, formerly known as Twitter, at Watch It Bro Pod. I would love to hear what you think on that. Would Mental have killed Harry and Lloyd, or would he have just taken the briefcase and left? But he doesn't get that opportunity because he bites into his burger.
Yes, he does.
And so he's chewing it, and it gets really, really hot. He doesn't actually. Does he swallow the burger too?
I don't think so, but he starts sweating pretty bad.
Right, but he's like, he falls over on the floor, and he's like holding his stomach, like, "Oh, my ulcer."
Maybe he did swallow some.
Maybe. So it's burning his insides out.
Maybe.
But then you get this is a scene. But while he's burning up, you get a metal version of The Bear Went Over the Mountain. And I pieced this together a long time ago because I didn't notice it the first few times I saw it, but then I was listening to it and I'm like, because when I was like 4, my favorite song in the world was "The Bear Went Over the Mountain." You know, it's heating up and the music's getting louder, and they're like, "The bear went over the mountain." And I'm like, they are singing "The Bear Went Over the Mountain."
That's hysterical. I didn't even notice that.
You have to watch it again now.
I will have to watch it again.
And then he falls over and he's like, "Ah, my ulcer." And they're like, "Are you okay, man? It was just a goof."
He's like, my pills.
Yeah, and so The waitress is like, she's in a full on panic, and Lloyd's like, "Let me handle this. I know CPR," which
No, he
clearly,
doesn't.
no, not at all. Out with the bad air, in with the good air. Out with the bad air, in with the good air. And then Mental kicks him. He like hammer fists his chest, and then
Yeah.
he's trying to give him mouth to mouth, and it's like, he's resisting me.
Just lay back and accept it.
This is a lot easier if you just lie still. And I wonder how much actual resisting of Jim Carrey's advances that actor had to do.
Jim Carrey's like, okay, you better hold me back because I'm coming for you.
I want to say that's what happened. Was there like getting ready to take, and he goes, "Just so you know, my goal is to give you mouth to mouth, and I will, and make it funny and gross." And he was probably like,
So you
"You-
better stop me.
You're serious, aren't you?" Oh no. But then he eventually resists Lloyd as Harry comes in with the pills and starts stuffing them in his face.
Yeah,
And
pills, good pills.
good pill, there you go. Which I glossed
Oh,
over in detail earlier.
we did
Uh,
gloss over in detail
During
earlier.
the phone call, he's going to use rat poison to poison their food and kill them.
Yeah.
And that's the bottle that Harry grabs by mistake, so he feeds Mental a whole bunch of rat poison.
Fun fact.
Fun fact,
You want you go ahead. I stole too many from you so far.
the rat poison were Smarties.
Yes, white Smarties.
Was that your fun fact?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And then Mental's starting to recover, and then he notices the container that Harry is holding.
He's like, you son of a
Gun. Yeah, he starts to, you son of a, and then gurgles and dies. And then Jim Carrey uses a famous staple from the 80s and goes, "Check, please." And then they leave, and Harry is very distraught at this. He's very distraught.
Yeah, he's like, he blamed me.
Yeah,
That's what his last words were.
you
Not if
heard him. Those were his last. Yeah.
Not if you count the gurgle.
Which is horrifying. I'm not even going off my notes right now. This is all from memory.
This is a movie we watched a lot.
Yep. But we cut back to the cops. They are now involved,
Yes.
and they're asking questions at Dante's restaurant. They said they said that Harry and Lloyd are the ones that called the cops, and then they took off. But we got an identification of the vehicle they're driving. It is a 1984 Jeep Dog.
Yes.
And then we cut to them in a gas station. And how much did you love that he has to it's like he lifts the leg to fill up the gas tank,
Yeah.
and it is a
Yeah,
little like
that's great.
hinged to hold it.
The
I
leg
mean,
lifts up. Yeah. All of that plays right into the next bit.
yeah. But so there's a lady filling up her vehicle too.
Yep.
Right next to Harry, and she's moving to Aspen, get away
Yes,
from her
her-
boyfriend.
Yeah,
Right?
her old boyfriend.
Yeah. And Harry notices the skis and he asks if they're hers. And she's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Both of them?" It's so good. His delivery on that whole part where he's just like, "Oh, are those your skis?" And she's like, "Yeah." And goes, "Both of them?" And she's even like, kind of, "Yeah." They're like shoes. You buy them in pairs, dude.
Yeah.
So he's making some progress with her, and Lloyd decides he's going to go potty.
Yes.
Well, and so they're kind of doing a back and forth where Harry's chatting up the lady, and Lloyd is going potty. And while he's going potty, he notices that there is a love letter written
I
on
was gonna
the
say
stall.
love note, but
Love note written on
yeah.
the wall. And if you're interested to meet back there on March 25th,
Which is tomorrow.
which is tomorrow at 3 a.m. Was it 3 a.m. sharp or something like that?
Yeah. I was looking at that. I'm like, is tomorrow gonna be the 25th? Because that would be hysterical.
I did the same thing, and I was like, "Oh, it's the 24th tomorrow," but
We
close
can't
enough.
get that. It is close enough. I mean, we can't get that lucky twice in a row. But Wizard of Oz, August 25th, it came out. Huh?
Yeah.
That's
So,
today.
but hey, close enough for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, interesting. I didn't think, I've never thought much of the date being there.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, that's important to the movie
Okay.
because of they're going to Aspen. It comes up later. It gives you the whole, now you have the whole timeline for the movie.
Okay. That makes
Fun
sense.
fact,
Yes.
Providence, Rhode Island to Aspen, Colorado
Yeah.
is about a 32-hour drive.
Yep. I had that written down. I got another fun fact for you.
Yeah,
Harry and Lloyd are named for the famous silent comedian Harold Lloyd.
I didn't think you'd have that one.
Ah.
Fun fact,
Yes.
Seabass makes a return.
I don't know how fun that is.
Seabass looks thrilled.
Yeah, it's not a good space. It's not a good spot for Lloyd to be in.
No, no,
Just he's like, "Oh, it's you." Ah!
that's a bad roll of the dice right there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Harry's filled up his sheepdog. We cut back to Harry. He's overfilling his sheepdog, so you get the joke of the dog peeing everywhere.
Yep.
That was, and then Beth, her name is Beth,
Yes. And Lloyd and Harry's getting covered in gas too,
right? Yes, that's important.
which leads into the
And then
next.
and then he's like, ah, and he panics and holds it above his head while it's still dripping gas. It's like, that's your go-to? Okay. Anyway. So they're still chatting. She's in her vehicle now and she needs to stay away. She's still chatting up a storm, but mentions that she should stay away. Her astrologer told her to stay away from accident pro people. At which point Harry leans on her outside mirror and breaks it off.
Yeah.
And then hands it to
See,
her and
I mean, this movie's got a lot of obvious jokes in it, but there's a lot of little subtle things that they string together really well, or that play really well as well. I mean,
right. And that's something I tell people. I mean, I don't want to get into final thoughts now or anything, but like to just to touch on your point though, that's something I mentioned to a lot of people when I talk about this movie is like, it's stupid humor, but the writing on it is really smart.
there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of good humor in it too. That's not just idiotic.
Right. There's a lot of clever writing. There's a lot of I mean, and even to have some of the stupid jokes are actually really smart.
Yeah, the setup and how they all play out. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean it's great. Like, back in the hotel, some little filly break your heart. No, it was a girl. Like,
yeah.
yeah, she sent me a John Deere letter.
A Philly.
Awesome. Yeah. I don't know, something about me not listening to her and I'm not really paying attention.
Yeah, yeah. It's
I mean, all three of those are like, he's an idiot, but to make that joke and make it work and fit in and have it not feel forced or bat an eye to it is brilliant.
yeah,
So she smokes too, and they're still at a gas station,
yeah, which is a big no.
which is, yeah. And she's like getting ready, and he's like, "Oh no, wait, I have a light." And so you can see like he's thinking about it too, like, don't look stupid, like, it's great.
Yeah,
He lights it for her, and me, as a former smoker of 20 years almost, I always watch people smoking in movies and shows
yeah,
to deduce whether or not they're actual smokers.
yes.
I could comfortably say this woman is not an actual smoker. She looked very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So he lights it for her, and then he throws the match on the ground and lights himself on fire.
He hit the whoosh,
And he notices, and she does not.
which I don't understand how she doesn't notice.
Maybe she
She's
does.
looking out her window.
She's very self-absorbed. You could
Yes,
say.
but she does say, "Hey, if you're in Aspen, give me a call and let me give you my number. We can meet up."
Yeah. And then she's looking for a pen. And that's when Harry realizes he's on fire. And he's like, just tell it to me. I have a great memory, which he does not.
Nope.
And finally, he just screams at her just to give him the darn number. And she's
Right,
like, well,
because she starts with her old number 555. Oh wait, that's my old number.
and everything's funny to her. And so, yeah, he screams at her. And she's like, you know what? If you're going to be like this, just forget it.
Yeah.
And so he's like, don't care. He runs into the bathroom, saves Lloyd's life.
Yeah. He knocks out Seabass.
Yep.
Lloyd is curled up in the fetal position, sucking his thumb.
Yes. And then we cut to them in the van driving.
Yep, they're back on the road.
Yep. And Harry mentions they're just getting into Colorado too. And Harry mentions that he doesn't have the energy to start another state. And so they switch, but they pull into a 7-Eleven.
They do. Lloyd's got to get some snacks.
Yep. And we get a iconically quoted part where
Yes.
where he's coming out of the 7-Eleven. He sees two guys standing there and goes, "Ah, big gulps, huh?" And then there's just awkward silence and he goes, "Well, see you later," and gets in the van. Fun fact.
I like this fun fact.
Do you have a fun fact?
I know the fun fact you're going to say. You've told me several times.
Is these are not extras, nor are they extras. They are
They
two
weren't.
gentle. What?
They weren't extras.
They were not extras. No.
No, they got made into extras.
They were two gentlemen who lived up the road from where they were filming and walked down to the 7-Eleven or walked down to watch the filming of the movie. And the Farrelly brothers asked them to stand there because Jim was going to do something. And that's what Jim did.
Yep. It was a good bit. I like it.
Oh, it's one of my favorite bits of the whole movie. I to this day, when I'm at a 7-Eleven, if I see someone with a big gulp, I will. Oh, big gulp, huh? Well, see you later. And then, just to show what a jerk Lloyd is, he gets in the van. Harry's asleep because he's been driving for the last 7 hours,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Some people just weren't cut out for a life on the road." Like,
Still ribbing into him even if he's not awake.
yep. So Lloyd drives all night, but you see him there getting to a fork in the road to either go east or west, and Lloyd's not paying attention, and so you see him take the eastbound lane,
Yeah.
and then you see the cops have a full-on roadblock set up to get these guys, which they're not going to hit because Lloyd went the wrong way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that. Like, we know where they're going. They're going this way. They got to go through this checkpoint. Not if they go the other direction.
Not if they make a wrong turn. And so eventually it's daylight out, and Lloyd chucks his coffee cup at Harry's head and wakes him up. And Harry asks how long he's been asleep for, and Lloyd's like, "Oh, I'd say a good 5 hours."
Yeah.
And they're both. I mean, it's there's nothing. And
Like,
this is still one of my favorite bits in the whole movie, where they're driving and they're like, "Huh, I thought the Rocky Mountains would be rockier than this." Yeah, me too. That John Denver's full of it, man.
yeah. That's such a great line.
It's because I mean, if you thought you were in the Rocky Mountains, but we cut immediately to Harry sitting in a vacant, empty, dusty field, and Lloyd being very apologetic that he's so. I mean, actually, he's not really apologetic. He's more making excuses, downplaying the situation.
Yeah.
It's like, so we traveled a little bit out of our way, a tad. And
Dad.
you drove over it 6 of the way across the country in the wrong direction. Which I don't think his math is mathing correctly on
Probably
that.
not.
But, 5 hours, that's a long way to go out of your way.
Yeah, especially on a 32-hour drive,
Yeah.
which
And
I'm sure took them longer.
yeah, oh yeah. I mean, that's a 5 hours is a tank of gas.
Yeah.
And you figure they're actually in a Ford Econoline 350. So you're figuring on the highway 12 miles to the gallon.
Yeah.
They're not. I mean, it's not fuel efficient what they're driving.
No, not at all. No, I mean that's a van that's
Yeah.
converted into a sheepdog.
Yeah.
It is not aerodynamic anymore either.
No. So yeah, they're and it's probably a lot heavier.
Yeah, a lot heavier. You got the ears flapping, the legs going,
What
the
if it
tail.
rains?
Oh, just a damp, wet carpet dog van.
Yeah. Which we glossed over. Harry did spend his entire life savings turning his van into a sheepdog just for the job that he got fired from.
True, he did.
But anyway,
He said the horn alone was 200.
the alarm.
The alarm alone was 200.
Yeah. But so they decide they're gonna part ways. Harry's done. He's gonna he's walking home, and Lloyd leaves the other way. We cut back to Harry walking, and you see a tiny little motorcycle off in the distance.
Yeah, just a little speck basically at the moment.
Yeah. That speck catches up, and you get Lloyd pulling up next to Harry and goes, "Still want to go to Aspen?" And Harry's curious, and Lloyd's like, "I can get 70 miles to the gallon on this hog."
He's like, "Where'd you get that?"
And then we find out that Lloyd traded the van for it straight up.
Which is insane.
And Harry hears this and is like, "Just when I thought you couldn't be any dumber, you go and do something like this and totally redeem yourself."
He hops on the back and
And
he's
he's
all
got a bike.
excited.
He's got a bike helmet on,
Yeah. Puts his little helmet on.
and they're off.
Yep. Get turned in the right direction, and there they go
Yeah,
to Aspen, Colorado on a
yeah.
moped.
I don't even think I'd call that a moped. I mean, that's bad.
Yeah.
It it's so we get a little montage of them riding that thing. I think it peaks up at 25 miles an hour at most, because you see people going around them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at that point, they're going up a mountain.
Even when they're not, when they're still in the plains, you see like cars passing them
Yeah.
on the flat road.
The semi goes by, and
Oh yeah, they're
he
which
does the horn signal, and he almost falls off, and
yeah.
they get it.
I mean, the horn honks, the pull the air horns. I remember doing that as kids,
Yeah.
and truckers will do it for you. I've tried it as an adult, and they do not appreciate it as much.
You got to get the right trucker
Or be a kid.
or be a kid. But I don't know if kids know that anymore.
Maybe not. We kind of montage it to Spain. Nope. Aspen.
Spain.
Just dyslexic. Leave me alone. But we see at one point Harry's like, "Go pull over, man. I gotta pee," and Lloyd's like, "Just go, man." They're not
Just
they're not
go.
stopping.
Nope, they're not stopping. They're cold. You can see Harry's got no gloves on. He's
Yeah.
just hung on to Lloyd and the briefcase.
And he does go. Oh, it sure is warm.
Yeah.
But they arrive.
Yep.
And it's funny because the last end of the montage when they're coming around the pass up the mountain, and like there's a long line of cars behind them.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, like, if I'm that first car, I'm just like, throw that bike in the trunk and get in.
Yeah. If I've got room, it's like get in the car.
Get in the car. I'll take you into Aspen. But they're also covered in pee. But
You don't know that.
no. But they
Like,
ride
what's
in.
that smell? The peas melting.
But they cruise into Aspen. They park it, and you get a very relieved, "We're there." And Lloyd stands up, and Harry is just attached.
Yeah. Yeah. He's backpacked on him basically.
Yeah, it got a little nippy coming through the bastard.
Yeah. They fall
And then
over.
they
And
fall
it
over.
cuts.
Yep, and then they've recovered.
Yeah, they got a little warm and probably hung out in a
They-
McDonald's for a little bit or something.
yeah, they were talking about getting food, but Lloyd swallowed a big June bug, so he's not really that hungry.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, we should probably do what we came here for, return the briefcase. And if Lloyd knows Mary as well as he thinks he does, she'll invite them right in for tea and strumpets."
And strumpets are not food.
Oh. And Harry's like, "That's a great idea." They're at a phone booth. And for those of you who listening who don't know or might not know, phone booths also had phone books attached.
They did.
And
They were
and
in a little plastic cover that hung below.
yeah, and you could look up businesses in the white pages or people in the yellow pages. And Harry's like, "Well, what's the last name?" And Lloyd's like, starts with an S. Sally, Slippy, Slappy, Sluppy, Switties, what? Swanson?
Swanson.
Swanson. He lands at Swanson, which is correct.
Yes. And
And
then
then
Harry
Harry,
says, check the briefcase.
maybe it's on the briefcase. And Harry and Lloyd looks down and goes, Samsonite. I was way off. It just started with an S, though.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Samsonite is the brand of the briefcase.
Yes, it is. But there's not a Mary Samsonite listed.
Uh, and Lloyd thinks that's great. She's unlisted.
Yeah. Good for her.
Yeah.
And Harry understands the gravity of the situation now and is like, great, what do we do now? And it cuts to them at a park standing in front of a barrel fire.
At night.
At night in the middle of the Rocky Mountains.
And Harry is freezing.
Harry's cold, and Harry mentions that his hands are freezing. They're numb. He can't feel them. And Lloyd looks at him and goes, yeah, maybe you should wear this extra pair of gloves that I have.
My hands are starting to get a little sweaty anyway.
Yeah, my hands are a little too warm. And Harry is just appalled that Lloyd has had this extra set of gloves, and he mentions it. You've had extra gloves this whole time, and Lloyd, being very indignant, is like, "Yeah, we're in the Rockies. What's your problem, idiot?"
Yeah.
And Harry, very calmly and matter of factly, states that he is now going to kill him.
And throughout this movie too, you can see they each have their own kind of strengths and weaknesses in other areas.
Yes.
We'll touch on it again a little bit later, but Lloyd definitely does seem to be a little more prepared for things.
Right. But Harry is more.
I'll tell you. Yes.
Yeah, and so they get into a fight because Harry's going to chuck that stupid briefcase into the pond.
Yeah, he's like,
and
I'm
rid them
gonna
of the
kill
curse.
you.
And your hands are freezing.
He's like, you got that crazy look in your eye again, Harry.
Put the gloves on, then kill him. But yeah, he's gonna throw the briefcase into the lake, and he chucks it, but Lloyd deflects, and so it lands on the ground, and it opens up, and they see, well, there's quite a bit of money in the briefcase.
Yeah, there's quite a bit.
And then
we don't know exactly how much.
I don't think we learn exactly how much.
Just a lot.
A lot. But they're now walking to a hotel, I guess. And they're talking about how they're gonna, just to fund them just to, reasonably fund themselves until they get in touch with Mary. They'll borrow against the briefcase.
Reasonable accommodations, something to eat, just to make it to basically to survive in the Rockies.
Right. And Lloyd says that they will be meticulous.
Yes, with their IOUs.
Yes. But he says meticulous and then defines meticulous. We'll be meticulous right down to the very last penny. And you're not batting an eye. And I'm going, there is no way he knows meticulous. No way he knows what that means. No. That guy knows meticulous?
I mean, maybe he's heard the word before.
He uses it correctly.
Yeah. Just because you can use something correctly doesn't mean you know how to spell it.
So then we get a look at their reasonable accommodations. We get a whole montage.
Yeah, the King's Suite.
Yes. Where Prince Charles and Lady Di, to date this movie, used to stay there in that suite constantly, reserved for celebrities and royalty.
Yeah.
And so we end the montage where they're watching a telephone company commercial, crying and blowing their noses in $200 bills.
They bought so much stuff.
That's right. And then the tips, really?
Yeah.
Because they're renting like a Ferrari as their driver to get. No, they bought it.
They bought a Lamborghini.
They bought a Lamborghini, right? Because that comes back later.
There's an IOU.
There's an IOU
for $275,000 for the Lamborghini.
Might want to hang on to that one. And then they bought new clothes, and then they're just handing tips out, like $100 bill tips to these people.
Yeah.
And Yeah, so then they're in their robes, they're on the bed, they're watching a TV.
Yeah, yeah.
A Bell commercial. Bell what is the phone company?
Um, I didn't write it down.
But it's an actual legitimate phone company and one of their legitimate commercials that aired in 1983.
Yeah, they're sitting there crying to it, using $100 bills to blow their nose, because that's a good use of the money.
Pacific Bell.
That's it. Pacific Bell.
Yeah. But Lloyd picks up a newspaper and he sees the ad for the Snow Owl Preservation Dinner.
Yeah, the benefit that is being hosted by the Swanson family.
Yes. And Lloyd freaks out and goes, "It's Mary Swanson." Which
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is where he tries to read the article and fumbles a little bit, and Harry takes over for him.
And yeah, we realize that Harry can read and Lloyd not so much.
Harry can read really well. He's like, oh, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Agricultural,
No.
environmental,
Annual.
annual, annual.
No. So we gotta get Cinderella ready for the ball.
Yeah,
As
it's like,
Harry
well,
puts it.
we know where she's gonna be. There's something going on. We got to get you ready for the ball, and we get a get ready montage.
We do, which is great and gross because their feet are yucky.
I've seen feet like that before.
My toes never got that bad.
I didn't say anything.
You looked at me.
You can cut that out.
Whatever happens, happens.
But yeah, they get a montage of picking out clothes for
Tuxedos
Lloyd,
and
tuxedos, haircuts, nose trims. Harry gets a massage at one point.
Lloyd's getting a shave.
Yep.
Lloyd pranks the barber with the bloodiest looking ketchup I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was like there was a blood packet inside that ketchup packet.
Yeah. Why couldn't have been blood packets?
I don't know. Ketchup packets are easy to get and they're free. Although they have money now, so who knows?
Yeah. And then Harry wants to massage the massage lady.
Yeah, he gets an idea and whispers in the massage lady's ear, and then they're switch places. She's on the table. He's wearing her little outfit.
Yeah.
And doing a horrible massage.
Yeah, but you can see the lady breaking.
Yeah, she's laughing.
Yeah.
He's smacking his head against her back.
She's not even trying to hide it. She's like, a normal person would probably laugh at this as well. But they land on the iconic orange and blue tuxedos with matching top hats and canes.
Yes. I love those tuxedos.
I'm surprised we never did that for Halloween.
My buddy Aaron and I talked about doing it for a prom or something. It just never panned out.
Because you guys had dates.
Yeah. Yeah, that would do it. Although I did go in a vinyl tux, just not orange.
No, you went to homecoming in the orange suit.
Oh, I did go to homecoming in an orange suit. I also went in a purple suit.
The purple suit wasn't bad. The orange one, very much so. And the vinyl tux was
A choice.
It was fun.
It was.
And it didn't look too bad.
That's good.
But okay, speaking of dumb tuxes, what prompted you to think of a vinyl tuxedo?
My date had a vinyl dress.
Fair.
So I was like, if I could get a tuxedo to match that, let's do it.
I no longer hold you responsible for the vinyl tuxedo. That, for being 18, that makes absolute sense.
Yep. I found it in a box a few years back. It was all wadded up and stuck to itself because it's vinyl. It didn't peel apart right, so it's gone.
Oh, that's too bad.
Well, it's either gone or still back in that box.
Do you think you could you think it's salvageable?
No, I don't think it was salvageable. I think it kind of glued itself together.
Be interesting to see if there's a way.
Yeah, if I still around here and I'm going through boxes, I'll let you know.
Okay. Was it comfortable?
No.
You were sweating pretty good in there, wasn't it?
yes, I was. Because there was a vest, then the jacket, and I had pants, and the pants they didn't button right. It was awkward to wear.
Who made that for you?
A friend of mine's mom.
Okay. Back to our movie.
Yeah, back to our movie. Enough about my random weird dress choices.
It was fitting with the movie.
It
was
was
part of the movie we were in.
but yeah, they've picked their orange and blue tuxes, top hats, canes.
and we arrive at the dinner, and they are sword fighting with the
Yes, they are. Because
and
why
then
would you not?
yeah, I agree. That was the proper way to make an entrance. And then Lloyd knocks off Harry's hat. And, and to retaliate, Harry clubs him in the back of both legs real hard.
Yeah.
And then Lloyd calls a timeout. And I think it's Nicholas, the main bad guy, that sees them come in
Yes, and tells them it's a $500 a plate dinner.
and says goodnight. And they're like, oh, $500 a plate? Put us down for 4 in
Yeah,
case we want seconds.
here's your money.
Yeah, there it is. It drops $2,000 into his pocket like it's nothing.
Right. There's a good chance it was more than 2,000 because they're playing fast and loose with counting.
Yes, they are. And so they let him stay.
Yep, they do. They are hanging out by the bar.
Right. I mean, they're talking about how they need to be sophisticated and try to fit in. And a lady walks by, and they mention that they would like to eat her liver with some farver beans and a nice Chianti. And they do that from the Silence of the Lambs.
It cut out when we both did it.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yep, it's not picking up. It doesn't like that noise.
No, it doesn't. Doesn't. Yeah. Yeah. So they're
That
gonna try to.
wasn't it.
Oh no! I'll cut that out. Stop doing it so I don't have to edit so much. Gremlin. But yeah, so they see Mary, and Harry's like, "Man, you weren't kidding. She is a very attractive woman, right?
Yes, that is that. Yeah,
Essentially."
essentially.
And Lloyd gets cold feet and makes Harry go over to talk to her.
Yeah, he's got the idea that Harry should go over there and build him up so he doesn't have to boast later, and get her all ready to meet him
Right.
because she's been waiting so long to meet
And it's not like she hasn't already met him before.
him. Right, he's just nervous and weird.
Yeah. And so Harry goes up there and well, he's funny.
He is.
He's dumb, but he's coming off very charming and charismatic.
He is.
And he's got a very silly sense of humor, which Mary seems to dig.
Yeah.
Anywho, Mary's mother-in-law comes up and strong arms her into going on a date with Harry
Yes.
skiing.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you two should go out and do something, go skiing, or
Yeah. And then that's where we get the timeline that they're running out of time. The snow's going to be melting soon because it's late March.
Yep.
And what have you. But so they set up the date, and then Harry goes back and tells Lloyd that he's got a date,
Yeah.
which
That
is a
she's
lie.
excited to meet. She's excited to see him, and it's all good.
Yes, and at some point during this dinner, they introduce the snow owls.
Yes, they got the two some of the last two snow owls.
1/7 of the world's population of snow owls.
Yes.
And then so there's 14 left in the world.
Yeah, that's fast math. Good job.
Thanks, I always was good at math. And then at some point during this, we also see that Shay is there, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, those are the guys that killed Mental."
Nick's like, what?
Yeah.
They found us.
Yeah, these guys are good. Like that, these guys are good.
Yeah.
Because the whole questioning went out the window when they whacked Mental.
Yeah.
But in celebration, Lloyd grabs a bottle of the champagne. The bartender kindly brings over 2 glasses. He shakes it up first.
Yeah, I don't know why he does that.
I know exactly why he does that. And then he opens it and kills an owl.
Yeah.
But like doesn't notice that he killed the owl, and so they're like leaving, and he goes, "Wow, this party really died," while everyone else is staring at the dead owl.
Yeah.
And then it cuts immediately to Shay and Nicholas, and Shay's like, "Well, maybe it was just a coincidence." And Nicholas is not having it. He goes straight up with, "No, these guys are good." First he mocks her. Maybe it was a coincidence. These guys are professionals, Shay.
We killed their bird, they killed ours.
Yeah. They're sending a message.
And we're seeing the message is that they're idiots.
Yes, They're not sending a message.
No, they're not.
Anyway, we cut to well, Mary's waiting for Harry at the ski lodge,
Mary and Harry.
and he comes in, and he knocks some stuff over.
Yes, he does. This we had talked about it before, but this is the stuff that they were filming that first week.
Okay,
The
yeah,
stuff, the solo stuff in Colorado
right,
with Mary.
yeah, and then it cuts to them on the ski lift, and they're talking, chatting it up, and she's sharing a little bit about how grateful she is to get a chance to get away, and she's had some family stuff come up, but she won't bore him with the details, and he's just like, ah, thanks.
It's like, oh, good. I didn't-
Good. I didn't want to hear what you had to say. Like,
yeah.
not interested at all. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, look, Frost. And he licks the pole. And it's Doug Sticks, as we saw in A Christmas Story.
Yes, if you haven't seen it, we talked about A Christmas Story, one of our special features. Sticking your tongue to a cold pole is bad.
Yes. And so we cut from there to Lloyd, dressed up for his date with Mary.
With
Dressed like
a
Dirty
cow-
Harry.
wearing a
Marty
cowboy.
McFly in Back to the Future 3.
Yeah, he's wearing a cowboy hat. He's got leather gloves on with fringe that's like a foot long. It looks like it looks like the jacket he's wearing is made from a blanket.
It's odd.
It is odd. Fun fact about the bar that he's in.
Yes.
It was the bar at the Stanley Hotel in Colorado. The Stanley
was.
Hotel, which was the inspiration for the hotel in The Shining, Stephen King's book.
Fun fact.
Okay.
While filming this movie, Jim Carrey stayed in room 217.
Yes, the famously haunted room.
And 3 hours after falling asleep, he was seen leaving the hotel and has vowed to this day to never tell a soul why or what he saw.
Yes. And that he would never go back.
And that he would never go back. I don't know how fun that is.
I mean, it adds to it adds to the mystery of the hotel. So if even if nothing happened and he's just like, I'm out. I got in my own head. This is creepy.
That can happen sometimes. Where you get in
Yeah,
your own head about something and psych yourself out.
yeah. You know, I'm in the haunted room. Go to sleep. You wake up. I'm in a haunted room. Was that a noise? Did I hear something? Is that someone looking at me in the corner? I'm out.
Yeah, it's really easy to get in your own head. But anyway, he first he does finger guns to Bernard, the bellhop guy, the old bellhop guy.
Except with finger guns, he's holding dollar bills.
$100 bills.
$100 bills, because that's their smallest bill, I guess.
Yeah, and they haven't just they've not realized that they can break a bill yet.
No.
And so yeah, he just because it's Bernard, right? Compliments the nice outfits, huh?
Yes.
And he's like, ah, and he puts his hands up, and then takes $200 tip for complimenting his outfit. And then Lloyd walks into the bar, and you see the bartender is like just taking chairs down, and he's like,
Yeah.
oh, you're a bit early. I don't open for 45 minutes.
Yeah, so it's like 8:15.
Yeah, bar opens at 9.
Yeah.
And so he asks
Seems like a good time, right?
Yeah,
Or
he
good
asks if he
time
can
frame.
sit down at the bar and wait. He says he's meeting, so or maybe it's 9:15.
It could be. It opens at 10. Meet her there.
Yeah, 9:30 it opens. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, he's like, yeah, come on in, sit down, whatever. I'm sure word has spread that this guy is just ridiculously rich, so they probably
Yes.
pretty much let him do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah. Basically.
Then we cut back to Harry at the ski lift. They've cut the ski lift down.
They take the chair off instead of getting him help. They've taken the chair off and put it to the side.
Because that was easier to get than warm water. And then Mary has made it to the bottom of the slope and is like, oh, you poor fella. And so she grabs his head. She's like, no, it'll only hurt for a second. Like a Band-Aid. She's wrong.
Yeah.
If you are
like a Band-Aid.
And she proceeds to rip his tongue up, and there's some kids there, and like one elbows the other. Absolutely watch this.
Yeah.
I would watch it too. But for all of you listening, if you ever find yourself with your tongue frozen to a metal pole, do not rip it off.
No, do not do this.
Do not do this. Get some help. Call a fire department, get some warm water, and free yourself proper. So she
Yes.
frees him with an obviously fake tongue, because you can see his tongue underneath it.
Oh, can you?
Yeah. We cut
The
back.
the way it pulls,
It's
it
yucky.
stretches, and it just it's like they Velcro. I think they use Velcro to make the sound of it because it was
Maybe. Um,
then it pops off and
but we cut back to Lloyd in the at the bar, and
yes.
he asks what time it is, and the barkeep's like, it's 1, and
Yeah,
the bartender sympathizes with him and so gives him a free beer. As he's
yeah,
doing that, Beth from the gas station sits down next to Lloyd and starts talking, and Lloyd is over it from the moment she sat down.
yeah. He's like,
And he belches real loud, and she's like, "Oh, rough day." And then he belches, and she's like, "Me too. Like everything's been rough since me and my boyfriend broke up." And he's just, you can see he's like anticipating how awful the next few minutes are gonna be.
yeah,
And then we cut back to Harry on his date. He's free of the ski lift. They make a snowman. He gets a little confused on what to do with the carrot and the coal.
yes, he does.
Mary thinks that he's just being a goofball.
Yes, yes, she does.
Um,
And they seem to be having a really good time.
and then she playfully throws some snow at him. And you see the look on his face change.
He's got that Harry, you got that crazy look in your eye again.
Absolutely.
He picks up
He
a snowball.
and he backs it down, and he's not more than 5 feet from her,
No, and he throws it as hard as he can.
and
It's like the
pelts
kid from Rookie of the Year, just poof.
right in the face. And she is, she's mad now.
Yeah.
And so she picks up some snow and she gets him back. And that sets him off even further. And so he tackles her down a hill and then dumps snow in her face and pushes her head down in the snow.
Yep.
And then gets up in a cowardly lion type fashion, like he's gonna box her.
Yeah. It's like, come on, come on.
And she starts laughing at him, and then he starts laughing as well.
He's like, what am I doing?
Yeah, which
The
we're
snow
all
cooled
wondering.
him off.
Then we cut back to Lloyd and Beth, and she's still telling her story, and she goes, "You want to know what happened next?" And he goes, "No," and I don't care. And she goes, "Well, I'll tell you."
Yeah, she
And
is. She is.
she is not even listening at this point. She is
Nope.
just there to talk.
She is powering through.
And he's like, "Bartender, help!" Essentially.
Yeah, bartender, please make her stop. Do you know Mary Swanson?
And he's like, "Oh yeah, Mary Swanson, she's in here all the time." And he's immediately jealous, like, "What is that supposed to mean?"
That's great. He grabs it. He grabs the bartender and pulls him over. He's like, "What does that mean?"
It's like, "She has dinner." He goes, "Oh, sorry. Do you know where she lives?" And he's like, "Yeah, big house on Alpine Drive." Alpine Drive, big house. Thanks. Looks over at
That-
Beth. Nope.
He's like, "That's something I can work with. Let's go."
Yep. And then on his way out, he sees a newspaper posted on the wall. And fun fact. Do you have a
Yes.
fun fact? I'll let you take this one.
I don't know. What's a fun? What's your fun fact? I mean, because it's a newspaper clip that says "Man lands on the moon,"
Yes.
and Lloyd's all like, "Oh, that's great! Hey, we landed on the moon."
Yes.
What's your
And
fun fact?
nobody knew he was going to do that.
Oh, really?
He was on his way out, and he just, in character, saw that and was like, "That's great."
Oh, that's
So
fantastic.
that is one take of him just busting out. "We landed on the moon."
That's a great one.
It is.
He would also go on later to play Andy Kaufman in a movie called Man on the Moon, but
Yeah, we might have to do that movie because there's a lot of interesting behind that.
that is yeah, we might have to.
Spoilers. So Harry drops off Mary, and Lloyd is there witnessing, and Lloyd sees the betrayal, and you feel bad for him.
Yeah, Lloyd's in the bushes and
Yep, yeah, he is. Lloyd is in the bushes. But then we cut back to the hotel where Lloyd is lamenting to Harry that he was stood up.
yeah.
And Harry finally pieces together that, wait a minute, I bet she met 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, who meets
Why
at a
would
bar at 10 a.m.?
And Lloyd just like, "Well, I just figured she was a raging alcoholic."
Just go with it. And I feel totally would have worked if Lloyd had not seen Harry and Mary together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that would have been he would have been like, "Oh, yeah, duh."
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. But,
They got caught.
yep.
Since Lloyd has his date, Harry's going to excuse himself to a movie, but Lloyd
Yeah,
wants them to have a toast to the date.
he's like, whatever thing will help your chances.
Yeah. And so they're going to have a bit of tea, except pretty much it's just laxatives that he puts in Harry's cup.
Turbo lax.
Turbo lax. And I mean, with how much he pours, and you think about the size of that cup, like I mean,
That's mostly turbo lax with a little bit of tea in it.
pretty much.
He even says it was a half a tablespoon for fast effective release.
Relief, not release.
Do you want me to do that again?
Nope, I'm leaving that in there. That's classic. That is great.
And he pours like a half a cup in this thing.
Easy.
Easy.
Easy half the bottle. And then so they're toasting, and Harry's taking a sip, and Lloyd straight up just reaches over and is like, all of it.
He's like, drink it up. Pushes the bottom of the teacup so it goes up higher. He's got an evil little smile behind his own cup.
And Harry's none the wiser.
Yep.
And then we cut to Harry heading to Mary's, and he gets we hear some stomach noises.
Yeah.
And he gets
You hear a gurgle, he gets a look on his face like, interesting.
and you can tell he's starting to get a little warm.
Yeah.
Which can happen when you have stomach issues or have downed half a bottle of a laxative. And then he arrives at Mary's, and she says they have an intercom. She says, come on in, come on upstairs. She says to make himself at home. She's going to regret that.
Yep.
And that she's got to finish getting ready, and it'll be a minute. And so that's when it hits him. The laxatives,
Yes.
I mean.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's when it really kicks in.
And then we get the famous bathroom scene.
Yes, we do.
Probably the reason why this movie is PG-13.
Probably.
And at one point, Jeff Daniels joked that this was his Oscar clip.
Yes. Yes. We also get a juxtaposition of we cut back to Lloyd, who's on the moped.
Yes.
Driving, laughing, and the Wicked Witch of the West music is playing.
Which is so good.
It is.
Yeah. And so I mean, he's making a ruckus in the bathroom, Harry is.
Yeah.
And Mary's like, Harry, are you in there? And he goes, yeah, I'm just shaving.
And she says, what do you do? Or just so you know, the toilet's broken.
It doesn't flush.
Yeah. She's like,
And you
oh,
see
that's good. I'm just shaving.
You see the panic set in on him.
Yeah.
And then you get the Lloyd with the Wicked Witch of the West music. And then eventually he arrives there, knocks on the door. Mary answers it. And he's like, hi, do you remember me? And she's like, not really, no. And he's just broken.
Yeah, you can see he's crushed. Like, oh, I drove you to the airport.
Back in Rhode Island.
Yeah, back in yeah,
I'm your limo driver. I'm suddenly showing up at your home
yeah.
2,000 miles away from where I dropped you off at the airport.
But she remembers his name.
Yeah, Lloyd, right? And he's like, "Oh, you remember my name?" And he's all sweet on her about that. And she's like, "What? A very valid. What are you doing here?" And he reveals, "I have your briefcase, you silly goof. You left it at the airport."
Yeah, and
And she's
that's
relieved and slightly creeped out.
yeah.
And he goes, "I have it back at my hotel if you want to come with me." And so she goes to tell Harry that she's leaving.
Which, by the way, stranger danger. I had an awkward limo ride with you in Rhode Island maybe a week ago. You show up at my house, tell me you have my briefcase, and then invite me back to your hotel room.
She misses her husband and she's worried.
Yes, that is she is distraught because her husband is kidnapped, and she needs the money to get him back, and she's relieved at this point. She's not thinking clearly or
All she's thinking about is, oh, that's why they didn't get the ransom. I get the briefcase back from these guys. I pay the ransom. I get my husband back.
Right,
Done and done.
right. I mean, what are the odds that my husband gets captured, kidnapped, and put into a blackmail hostage situation, and there's also a serial killer after me?
The odds are astronomical.
Exactly. So, but yeah, no, she puts all. She's not thinking clearly. She's like, I need that briefcase back. Let's go.
Yes. So she goes to tell Harry that she's got to go and it's an emergency. And we cut to inside the bathroom now.
Yep.
And he's messing with the toilet.
Yeah, he's taking the.
Floater out.
Yeah, yeah.
The float. I guess it's not a floater, it's a float.
It's called a.
But, and I wanted to chat with you for a minute about this.
Okay.
Because looking at the toilet, because he's flushing the flusher, and it's not flushing, I've identified the problem with the toilet.
Yes.
The chain is missing.
Yes.
But it's holding water, which means, technically, all he would have to do is reach into the toilet and open up the little valve, and that would
Yeah.
cause a manual flush.
Yes, you pull the flapper up, the water goes down. If that is indeed what the issue was, which it looked like, the chain wasn't connected to the handle, and if you don't have a basic knowledge of toilets, you wouldn't think to check that. You just, oh, it doesn't work. I better call somebody. Especially if you're living in the big house up on Alpine Drive in Aspirin.
True. So, but I just wanted to point out that it is a very simple and easy fix.
Yes.
That you don't even have to get a new chain if you're fine with reaching in the back of a toilet every time.
I mean, you should be able to just pull the chain up and connect it to the.
Oh yeah, if there's a chain,
Flush arm again.
if the chain's still in there.
Yeah, I mean, if it broke off completely and went down and got stuck inside the anyway. Enough
The
toilet repair.
The toilet's fine. All you have to do is open the flapper, and he's out of the situation. I just wanted to check to see if you came to the same conclusion that I did.
Yes, yes, that's. I mean, I was looking at him like, pull up the flapper, see if that works. But he's just taking things out.
As you do.
Yep.
You don't know anything. Anyway, we cut back to Harry and Lloyd. Nope, that's Mary and Lloyd back at the hotel, and he's like, "I'll race you upstairs," and
like,
she
okay.
obliges.
Yeah.
And then he trips her.
Yeah, he falls and then he grabs her and trips her and runs up past her. And I mean, she's at this point, she's got thinking like, is there two of these guys? Because this is a very hairy move too.
Right. Oh, and I glossed over something, which kind of made me think this time watching it, because when Harry's in the bathroom and she's waiting before Lloyd shows up,
Yeah.
they're watching the news, and they do the story about the poor Rhode Island boy
Yes, yes, they do.
who
was sold a dead bird.
who was duped into buying a dead bird, and he's like, I just thought he was quiet, and he's still holding the bird.
He is. They didn't take it from him. He's just got it clutched in his hand.
Yeah. But Mary's like watching it, and she looks mortified, and she goes, "Who are these people?" and I'm like, "Does she know?"
Oh, that
Because the FBI, I'm sure, has contacted her by now, and told her a bit about how there's these two guys that killed one of the guys that might have her husband.
did they think that they had? Are they working two different cases that kind of roll into one in Aspen? Because I don't know if they would have been brought in yet.
Well, later when at the end when she's like, "We've been following you guys since Providence."
Yeah.
So that made me think, like, is that why Mary went with Lloyd? Is because she knew that these guys had something to do with her situation, and that's why she's.
Could be. She might not know that they had anything to do with the PD incident.
Maybe she does though, because I mean, it would be pretty rare to have that all track. I don't know. It just made me wonder, like, is she aware that, like, who Harry and Lloyd are to an extent? But anyway.
I don't think so. I think the FBI is just telling her they have some other suspects they're looking into.
Okay.
maybe no, because they would have jumped on him if they had shown pictures of her. Like, do you know these two? Like that guy drove me to the airport yesterday.
Right, right. So maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, so they're at the hotel, and the bad guy, we see that Shay and Nicholas show up,
Yeah.
and it's just a quick little showing of them at the hotel.
Yeah. What happens to Shay?
She gets arrested.
Okay, because I just don't remember. She doesn't go upstairs with Nick.
No, no, she's down running interference or waiting at the bar or whatever. Anyway, I think. But yeah, so Lloyd professes his love for Mary and asks point blank what his shots are, and she tells him not good, and he goes, "Oh, like 1 in 100." She goes, "I'd say more like 1 out of 1,000,000." And he goes, "Oh, so you're telling me there's a chance?" And celebrates right in front of her.
Yeah, you're saying there's a chance. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah. I read you. And then there's a knock at the door, which also I glossed over a clever joke because he's asked her and he goes, "What do you think the chances are of a guy like you and a girl like me?"
A good switch there, and it
Very
played really
subtle,
well.
yeah,
Yes.
because they don't stop to acknowledge it at all.
Nope.
It's
It
just
just
if you
keeps
miss it,
going.
you miss it. Yep. Then there's a knock at the door, and we cut from there, and we see Harry getting home, and Beth stops him in the lobby, and is like, "You never called," and it's like, "Well, you did. You didn't give him your number, if you remember, right?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, wait, what are you doing here?" And then it cuts back to the room
Yep.
where we have the reveal that Nicholas is the bad guy, and Mary finally learns this.
Yeah, that he kidnapped her husband, and, Lloyd's like, "What was all that 1 in 1,000,000 talk? You're married."
Yeah. What does he call him? Bad guy or gun
Yeah,
guy? He calls him
good
gun
guy.
guy. Excuse me, gun guy. Who are you? Says, I'm the rightful owner of that briefcase. And you get a great joke here in a minute where he goes, "Listen, Mr. Samsonite, my friend Harry and I have every intention of paying you back every dollar." And
He's
you see
he's like, "What?"
what? You see that panic? And he goes, open it, and it's just full of IOUs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, so many.
so many. He goes, "What is this? Where's the money?" That's just as good as money, sir. Those are IOUs.
This is where we find out how much they spent on the Lamborghini,
Yep.
275,000.
You might want to hang
It's
on to
on a
that one.
it's on a cocktail napkin with a stain on it. It's not like they put the paperwork or receipts in there. It's written IOUs on little pieces of paper
Yeah, and
and napkins.
it's literally IOU, and then the money on it,
Yeah.
and well, he's mad.
Yeah, yeah, he's
Yeah.
that's a good way to put it. He's mad. He's kinda furious.
Yeah. And Mary is just, I mean, I don't how do you describe what she is? She's just I guess she's just along for the ride at this point.
Yeah, it's just like, sure, that happened. Some of the money's gone. A lot of the money's gone. This guy's got a gun. What's gonna happen?
We're all gonna die. At that point, are these guys brilliant vigilantes or are they idiots? And they're idiots.
Yeah.
But Harry comes in.
Yeah, Nicholas is still trying to decide what to do, so he's handcuffed, Mary and
Yeah.
Lloyd to the bed.
Right. And then Harry walks in and he goes, "Oh, you guys found each other. I'll just let you guys talk." And Nicholas is like, "No, no, stay," and pushes Harry on the bed. And Lloyd throws a pillow at him, kind of.
Yeah.
Definitely not a lefty. At least he holds his principles because he's on the phone with the airport, and he is a vegetarian, I guess, because he asked for the vegetarian meal on his flight to Amsterdam.
Well, if you're escaping, you want something good to eat.
He still cares about the animals.
Maybe he just can't have meat, or he likes the vegetarian ones better because they come out tastier.
Well, the whole bird preservation thing, foundation.
Oh yeah, I just figured that was a cover, but maybe actually does like the animals. He's a vegetarian and just
That's what I thought. I mean, he can still have some principles.
yeah,
But anyway, so he books his flight, and now he's like, "Well, I got to kill you guys now."
yeah,
And now, first, oh yeah, Harry and Lloyd are fighting.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
revealed that Harry's known all along about the Freda Felcher thing.
yeah. Lloyd's like, what? Oh,
What do you mean?
what do you mean? What do you mean? What
Freda
do I
told me.
mean?
Freda told me the whole sleazy story. Well, maybe this friendship ain't worth anything. They have and they argue about the friendship and they proceed to have the most juvenile fight you could think of. Two grown
Yes,
men having
with a gun pointed at them.
with a gun pointed at them. They don't care about the gun. And then Nicholas is like, "Okay, I'm gonna shoot one of you first. Who's getting it?" And Lloyd's like, "Over here." And then Harry's like, "No, no, no, no!" Stands up even to get the attention drawn to him. I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. Lloyd's like,
He's
it's
like,
my fault. We're here anyway. Just shoot me. But yeah, Harry jumps up and
It's like, no, no, do me, do me. It was last night, yesterday was the best day I ever had. Mary touched my leg, and at that, Lloyd's like, okay, kill him.
kill him.
And so Nicholas shoots him 3 times
In the chest, yeah.
in the chest. And Lloyd is like, you killed my best friend. And Nicholas is like, well, if it's any consolation, you're about to be reunited. And that's when Harry jumps up and unloads his gun into the wall behind Nicholas. And
Lord.
Lloyd's like, Harry, you're alive. And you're a horrible shot. And Nicholas is like, oh, lucky me. And that's when the FBI breaks in
Yep.
and arrests Nicholas and reveals the whole plan that they've been following him since Rhode Island. And Harry reveals that, yeah, they caught her down in the lobby. She told me what was up, slapped a bulletproof vest on me, gave me a gun, and sent me in. And Lloyd, being the, I don't know what the word for it is, but he quickly arrives at, what if he shot you in the face? And hadn't crossed Harry's mind once. He's like, what if he shot me in the face? And Beth is like, well, that's a risk we were willing to take.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Lloyd's the more street smart one of the two, and Harry's the more book smart.
right.
They're not
And
good at either one, but yeah.
yeah. But the FBI clearly did not care about whether or not Harry lived.
No, they did not.
And because if you look closely, he has an earpiece in, which means the FBI heard everything that was going on.
It's like, okay, they shot at him. They got the information. Let's go. Let's go.
And still waited till after Harry got shot.
Yeah.
Until they were about to lose Lloyd also before going in. And so we cut to the bad guys getting arrested.
Yep.
Our heroes being treated for possible wounding or whatnot. They're just kind of hanging out.
Yep.
Mary is hanging out there, and Mary's husband shows up. Who, fun fact.
I was gonna do this fun fact, but go ahead.
I'll let you.
Fun fact: the original plan was to have this be her husband be played by Mel Gibson.
Yes, it was.
In the mid '90s, he was hot stuff, and they figured that I mean, you get Mel Gibson in there. There's no way that Lloyd could compete with that.
Right.
But it didn't work out, and we got this guy.
And then Mary introduces her husband to Lloyd, and Lloyd daydreams about taking the gun from the cop and blowing him away.
Yeah, she's like, I want you to meet the nicest man I've ever met, the nicest, most sweetest man. And somebody else, he's got a gun. And you see Lloyd, he's just angrily shooting.
He's screaming, die!
Yeah, die!
And shooting. Lloyd, I said I want you to meet my husband.
He's like, what?
Oh, and he shakes his hand and goes, I'm so happy for you. And I don't know if you noticed that, like, he doesn't let go.
Yeah, and he starts
just sitting there squeezing it, and he's like, thank you. So, stop it.
Brad Lockerman, who was in Naked Gun 33 and a Third, General Hospital, Chicago Hope, not much. Max Steel, the TV series.
Max Power. Oh, that's a great name. I got it from the hairdryer. Can we continue?
Yeah.
Okay, so we cut to Harry and Lloyd walking. They're pretty. It seems they're pretty far from Aspen at this point.
Yeah, it looks a little deserty.
It does look deserty, and they're talking about, they can't believe the cops took their nest egg. They have nothing.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Our big break will come.
the reward for not having to pay it back,
Right.
or
So
for saving.
I talked about this with a friend of mine, Thomas, when I
Yeah,
lived in California, and I was like, it's kind of messed up that like these people are literally homeless, have no money, no vehicle, nothing, and they take their nest egg, they give them no reward, and they leave, and they just tell them that they're like get out of Aspen and send them on their way. And he looks at me and he goes, they spent almost the entirety of a multi-million-dollar ransom
in 2 days.
in like a ridiculously short amount of time. It wasn't like what more should they get?
They didn't get charged with theft.
And I'm like, that is a valid point because they did. It's not like anyone gave them the money; they just stole it.
They took
And
someone's briefcase where they knew it was. I mean, they planned to pay it back supposedly, but
they did write the IOUs, so I mean that
yeah,
does show intent.
it does.
They are stupid, but I digress. So yeah, then as soon as they mentioned that they'll catch their break one day, the Hawaiian Tropics bus rolls up,
Yes.
and they tour around the country, and it's a bikini competition or something like that.
Yeah, bikini competition, bikini show. I don't know. Just
They need two guys to apply their bronzers
yeah,
before each
yeah,
show,
to oil them up or whatever.
and they are in luck because there's a town about 3 miles that way.
Yeah.
And the bus says okay, they say okay, and then the bus takes off, and then it clicks for Lloyd, and he goes, realize what you've done. And they chase, and Lloyd chases the bus down, and Harry chases Lloyd down,
Yep.
and the bus stops, and Lloyd is very apologetic, and he goes, you'll have to forgive my friend, he's a little slow. And just when you think they're gonna get on the bus, Lloyd turns and goes, or says, the town's back that way.
Yeah.
Fun fact,
Okay.
the original script, they get on the bus.
Yes. But Jim Carrey did not think that was something the characters would do, and they changed it.
Yep.
He's like, there's no way they get on that bus.
Which they still could have had him get on the bus and have it
Yeah.
work. Because if he was like, the town's back that way, one of the girls could have been like, just get on the bus.
Yeah. Yeah, but this, I think this works.
Yes, because then they're like, oh man, there's going to be two lucky boys that are going to be spending the whole summer with them.
Yeah, we'll catch our break.
Then don't worry, Lloyd, we'll catch our break. Yeah, we just got to keep our eyes open. And then they start a game of tag. Fun fact,
Yes.
there was an alternate ending for this
Oh, yeah?
where they're leaving the hotel after all is said and done, and Bernard comes out and talks to them about their situation and what they're going to do, and they go, we don't have any plans. And Bernard says, well, we have a room in the basement where old staff used to live in the hotel. You and Harry can stay there, and we will find odd jobs for you guys to do around the hotel since they liked them so much. And they're just about to take it, and so one of them's going to be caretaking for my grandson while he's here visiting. And so they agree to it, and you see the grandson's here now, and guess who it is? It's Billy and 4C,
Yep.
and they take off.
Yeah, that
But-
would have been different.
That would have been, but that was Dumb and Dumber. We roll credits now.
Yes, roll credits, Dumb and Dumber.
They're playing tag, and we roll credits over the top of it.
Do you want to give your final thoughts?
I can give my final thoughts. You usually go first.
Oh, okay.
But
I
it-
can give my
no, no.
final thought.
But it was a your episode, so I guess I do go first.
Oh, okay.
So, as you know, I was a little
Hesitant.
hesitant and apprehensive about doing this movie.
Yes.
I was also a little bit on the fence about kind of worrying about what my opinion on it was going to be now. And after watching it, I still love it. It is great. it I mean, I was looking at it through the lens of expecting it to be a lot more kind of dirty and raunchy than it ended up being.
Yeah.
I was like, you take a couple things out of here, and it ain't a bad movie. I mean, it's not over the top in any
No.
capacity, really. I mean, the bathroom scene is a bit much. There are some more adult things that would kind of, I mean, but all in all, I'm still gonna watch it. Not a lot, but yeah, I'll put it on once in a while and laugh.
Okay.
be like my guilty pleasure movie. I guess like I tell people all the time, it's so you think of a movie that is solely based on two dumb people and the writing and the performances have to be perfect in order to pull it off, and Dumb and Dumber does it.
Yeah.
It's yeah, to me still a home run of a movie.
Cool. Yeah, I know when I said it, you were thinking about it. I could see you thinking about it the way you were thinking the way Black Sheep turned out.
Yeah,
Remembering it one way, watching it again after so many years. But I think with this one, too, I mean, it's a good movie. There's good writing in it, good comedy, and we watched it enough that it's embedded in us more
right.
than Black Sheep. Because I don't know how much you watched Black Sheep growing up, but I
Not
only saw it once.
yeah.
Where with this one, it was, "Hey, it's Dumb and Dumber time again," and I mean, we were you were quoting it the whole time watching it. We know the movie back and forth. Basically, it's not like there was much surprises. You just kind of remembered it being um, more raunchy or crass than you actually remembered it being for whatever reason. I mean,
It was
things when you're younger stand out as being more like, oh, that's more taboo than it actually is, just where you're young.
right. Well, it was also more of like a there. I know most of the movie, but like, what am I not remembering? Was more
Right.
of like what parts are gonna come up that I'm like, oh,
Was there anything you weren't remembering that you were surprised by? You're like, "Oh, yeah, I forgot about that."
not a bit.
Or were you just like, "Yep, that's what I remember."
Yep, whole movie front to back. I almost didn't even need like I said, I almost didn't even use my notes through the movie.
Yeah.
It was mainly just for the fun facts.
In the same boat. I still like it. I watched it, I mean, before we did I decided to do it with the podcast, I'd seen it within the last year.
Yeah, it'd been a couple years for me.
But I enjoy it. I know some of the humor is stupid, but I think a lot of the writing's good. It's got some funny beats, and I mean, it's a classic for a reason.
I mean, it's clever, stupid,
It is.
mostly
Yeah, I mean, the stupidity is there, but it's done in such a clever way
that you can
that it
appreciate it.
works. Yeah. And I mean, we didn't talk about the obligatory nut shot in this one
No, I glossed over that on
in
purpose.
in the flashback, but it's hysterical. You're like,
It's hysterical because they turned it up to 11.
right. It's not like it was just the it. I mean, it was the shot for taking the shot, but unlike the one in Tommy Boy where it's contrived and
They tried to throw it in there just to throw it in there, but it forced
weird.
it
This
was a
one,
square peg in a round hole.
right, this one, it fits, it flows, and then with him turning it up to 11 and just use it as a speed bag and then biting him. I mean,
Yeah,
just goes the over the top is what sells it and makes it a bit
makes it
more.
yeah.
I mean, in the whole scene, if he had just kicked him and moved on to somebody else, that would have worked too. Because it was just in this fight scene where something happens, he gets kicked in the junk, and it wouldn't have been highlighted like that. Just keep fighting, but highlighting it like this, I think
Where
worked.
they get down and they have like the camera actually between yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
I mean talk about leaning into a joke.
Yeah, but yeah, I'll watch it again. I had a blast with it, and
Yeah.
here's hoping you liked it too,
I did.
listeners.
Yeah, I yeah, here's hoping our listeners liked it as well. So yeah, I think that wraps up our final thoughts on Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think so, and I think we've hit the point where you tell me what we're watching next. Do you have something in mind?
I never landed on one, and I was really
Okay.
hoping that throughout this episode I would have landed on one. I'm between like four,
Ooh.
um, and it's gonna be another one of those where I sit and stammer and hum and ha.
You wanna
I,
roll a D4 and see?
no, not that one. I don't
I
know if
mean,
you've
that's a
ever,
way to do it too.
but
Oh, j if you have any movies that are spy movies, don't do those ones, because 'cause you've done 2 spy movies in a row.
right, right. I just
I mean, it's also it's a really good one.
no, I was hoping to have it picked. You know what? I'm curious because you and I actually you and this my apprehension for this movie is it's a lot,
Okay,
so it's gonna be a tough one to take notes on, I think.
okay,
Um, but you and I have literally never talked about it. I'm assuming you've seen it.
okay.
I had never seen it. I think I saw it for the first time 3 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
I don't think mom and dad have seen it.
Interesting.
Actually, I hadn't even really heard of it until Rachel told me about it, which is surprising because it's a popular movie, I think. We're going into the early 2000s.
Okay.
It's very I don't know. I don't know if I just see Bill and Spencer. Big Fish. We're gonna do
Okay.
Big Fish.
Fantastic.
Have you seen it?
I have.
Okay.
Uh,
I just
Tim Burton directed it.
yeah.
And it's starring
Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor. Yep.
Yeah, I had a couple other
Fantastic.
ones, and
Oh, I'm excited.
I just kept going back to it.
Oh, I'm
It
excited.
just
This should be good.
but you can like thinking back on the movie, you can see where I'm like, oh man, taking notes, that's gonna be tough.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little difficult for note taking, but we'll
Note
get
taking
through
and
it.
walkthroughing, but yeah. All right. Well, I guess
Oh,
that
excited.
wraps up today's episode. Yeah.
I'm
Um,
excited for this one.
Me too. Actually, I don't think mom and dad know the movie at all.
I'm not sure.
Oh, that'll be fun. Um, but yeah, thank you to all those who joined us on this road trip from Providence to Aspen as we got a little dumb. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can do so. WatchItBroPodcast@gmail.com. We are also on the X, formerly known as Twitter, at WatchItBroPod. Facebook and Instagram is also that same handle. Yeah, I keep forgetting to mention it, but if you liked us, rated us, reviewed us, or subscribed to us, that would help us out a lot.
And we'll
And
shout you
growing.
out.
Marshall says he'll shout you out. I won't.
Okay.
No, maybe I will. I don't know. Depends. We'll see what happens. We'll try to. I don't know. Hasn't happened yet. So fingers crossed there. But as always, our intro and outro music is provided by my lovely wife as of season 2. That intro being Blue, that outro being Orlando. And as always, thank you for watching.